Dental Group in Maryville, Illinois, where I go to the dentist. My husband, my kids have just gone here recently. Such a positive experience when it comes to taking care of your dental care. And dental care is healthcare. And they have that full approach to taking care of you, which includes your mental health as well. They're going to make you feel as comfortable as you possibly can when you step into the exam room and you sit down in the comfortable massage chair. You turn on your favorite Netflix show and they work on you with pristine healthcare. That's what it is at Foley Dental Care. And they take that very seriously. My husband just had a crown put on and it was done in a day. It was simple. It was easy. He had nothing but glowing reviews to say about the experience. If you're looking for healthcare for your teeth, if you're looking for a new dentist, somebody who makes you feel comfortable, somebody who you can walk into. If you haven't seen a dentist for a long time, that's the case that a lot of us are in with the pandemic taking place in the last year. If you need dental care, you need Foley Dental Group. They are the best in the region. You can come to visit them on either side of the river. As I said, located in Maryville, Illinois, 618-288-9670. Taking new patients right now, 618-288-9670, online at foleydentalgroup.com.
This is where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Join the conversation digitally. Download the Odyssey app and tune into the #1 talk station in St. Louis at any time. The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
My campaign people would beat me about the head and shoulders if I didn't ask folks to go to my website, johnkennedy.com. I put up some cool new pictures and some admonitions to folks like pretty please with sugar on top, stand your ass up for the national anthem and that sort of stuff.
I just can't get enough. If you tune into this radio show and you just hear 3 hours straight of John Kennedy, I could probably be in labor, but it might be the best show I ever did. I just love that. And I will also say, on behalf of his campaign staff, which I have no authority whatsoever to speak on, well done to get that in there, because now people are playing it over and over and over again with the website URL in the soundbite. I just love it. Welcome into the Annie Fry Show. Happy to be with you here. Thursday afternoon, looking to be a little bit more like a June afternoon today. Hope you're having the opportunity to enjoy some of that this afternoon. If you're out and about grabbing lunch right now, we appreciate you tuning in to 97.1 FM. And a reminder, you can stream us on the Odyssey app anywhere you go, on your phone, on your mobile. Just download that Odyssey app, find 97.1 FM Talk, and plug us in and follow the Annie Fry Show there. You know, when you listen to John Kennedy talking about that, you know, it's in context in a larger interview. It's talking about standing up for the national anthem. That's one of those issues that continues to circle back. And I was looking at Twitter, of course, and I was scrolling through different stories. And there's a story that really caught my eye. It came from the AP today. The national anthem. Kneeling, that whole thing took place with Colin Kaepernick a long time ago, back in the days when Colin Kaepernick was actually playing football. And there's a story from the AP today, and the headline is, NFL pledges to halt, quote, race norming, review black claims. Now, if you don't know what this is, I didn't know what this is. I was like, well, what's race norming? That sounds bad. Just on the surface, race norming sounds like, it's probably not something that we should be engaging in, but I don't even know what I'm talking about. So I decided I'm going to read this AP article. I'm going to read it to you here real quick. The NFL on Wednesday pledged to halt the use of race norming, which assumed black players started out with lower cognitive function, in the $1 billion settlement of brain injury claims, and review past scores for any potential race bias. The practice made it harder for Black retirees to show a deficit and qualify for an award. The standards were created in the 1990s in hopes of offering more appropriate treatment to dementia patients, but critics faulted the way they were used to determine payouts in the NFL concussion case. This is so frustrating to me that in the past, 6 years, maybe even longer than that, the NFL, much like the MLB, dipped their toe into the woke culture with the All-Star game this year in Atlanta. The NFL has kind of stood blindly on the sidelines while their product, which I used to be a humongous fan of, St. Louis Rams, huge NFL fan. My dad was a season ticket holder, and I accompanied him to many a really crappy football game in St. Louis for a long time. And so did many other St. Louisans who were very dedicated to a product that we come to find out Stan Kroenke was completely not dedicated to here in St. Louis. I digress. The NFL puts this product forward, asks people to consume it, makes gigantic sums of money on it, and then this race thing kind of gets interjected into it. And Colin Kaepernick, Colin Kaepernick's cause wasn't race norming with concussion protocols and dementia situations for retirees in the NFL. It was about police brutality. And, you can identify that because he would wear socks that were pigs with police hats on them onto the field. And it was always kind of interesting to me to watch the NFL specifically toe the line on this issue. You felt like they're not stopping anything. They weren't stepping in and weighing in. It kind of just was there to just muddle and to simmer and to allow all of us to go, well, please stand up for the national anthem because you were honoring or dishonoring the people who have fought for the flag that we're putting our hand over our heart to honor in this moment together as, the red team on one side of the field and the blue team on the other side of the field, or whatever the colors of the uniform are. This is one moment of unity that we should all be able to agree on because this idea of America is worth standing for. That's the generalized idea. Colin Kaepernick comes in and says, well, we don't have an equal experience in here and I'm going to kneel. And it's not about, eventually he said, it's not about disrespecting the troops, but people need to know. Meanwhile, in the background, the NFL is going off of 1990 standards, suggesting that African Americans come in to a situation where, because of the profession that they've played in, of course, there's a much higher percentage of African Americans in the NFL than there are in the United States of America from a ratio comparison. As I said from the AP article here, the practice makes it harder for Black retirees to show a deficit from where they were to where they are as a retiree to gain benefit that white people would. And this is where, Katie, I saw you posted something on Twitter last night about putting some action behind your words. Like, we talked yesterday on the show as all three of us here about the Pride revamp of logos that everybody puts out right now. But you see a lot of these global corporations, and they only change their logos in countries that are already accepting of people in the LGBTQ community. If you go to some of these Middle Eastern countries that are very okay with capital punishment for the crime in those countries of being gay, those companies don't change their logo there. Why? It's because it's all about money. This, to me, shows us again that whatever is surrounding the NFL, any conversation that we've been having with the NFL on race issues, where they've taken a stand, where they've chosen not to take a stand, all of these decisions are being made based on money. They're all based on money. And when somebody puts out some sort of you could change your Facebook photo to this frame, and it makes you feel good inside that you've chosen to be publicly in support of something, that inherently isn't a bad thing. But let's not be duped. Let's not be pawns here in the greater marketing game that is corporate America and working really hard to virtue signal to us, going back to the MLB, in Georgia about where we should be playing All-Star games and where we shouldn't. I mean, how stupid is it that the All-Star game gets moved to Colorado? And you did not make a great improvement in the case you were making when it comes to election laws. You just didn't. And you hurt the people who you virtue signal on a regular basis that you're out there to help. I don't see the mainstream media as a whole calling this out. I see, it's easy for me as somebody who is a conservative, who has a talk show to talk about this. You're going to see it on Fox News from a lot of pundits. And when we do it, it just sounds like noise. Just like when the left does something and it's in their echo chamber, it sounds like noise. But I'm out here to say, reading this AP article, and, maybe there's more to the story that I don't know yet because this has just been brought to my attention. But the NFL has some problems internally that they need to address before they start worrying about my profile picture on my social media, or what I think about what I'm going to do in my life, or assuming that they understand the entire platform and perspective that I have, where it came from, and why I need to change me. Like, let's stop worrying about me right now. You worry about you. And stop trying to think that I'm so stupid to be manipulated, that because you changed something in your logo to suggest that, you're supportive of LGBTQ rights, that somehow or another, I assumed that you weren't until you did that. That's not the way we need to function as a society, but it's absolutely where we are right now. What do you guys think?
It's amazing that yesterday, we just were talking about this issue generally of just corporations and talking out of both sides of their mouth. And then this NFL, and we specifically referenced the NFL, and then the NFL story about agreeing to drop race bias and concussion claims, which sounds like it would be something that came out of the 1930s, but came out of the 1990s. Like it's like, oh, well, it's a while ago. That wasn't that long ago that they're making these up.
No, I was there in the 90s.
Yeah,
That's
right.
not that long ago. We know the 90s.
Yeah.
These are things that we lived through. We saw things in the 90s.
Right. And so we're talking about these issues, and like all of a sudden, hey, the one issue we brought up yesterday, and the NFL just, hey, this story broke all of a sudden. And here we are talking again about the NFL like being the worst example of, I guess, of capitalism, because they just, it cheapens everything that they do. Like, that's what drives me crazy, is that when they even support the military, you see them, the planes are flying over.
Funded by you.
It's great. Oh, really? Oh, like they don't care. They don't care about anything. So even when it's an issue you support, you have to still just roll your eyes. You're like, oh, great. Well, here comes the planes. But it's the NFL, so who cares? They're just doing it for money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's all about publicity. It's all about the money, like we said yesterday, like we're saying today. I think it's interesting, too, because I sent you this last night, Annie. One of my best friends who's gay.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm glad you brought this up.
One of my best friends who's gay wrote, she was, I can't verbatim remember what it said, but I'm paraphrasing now. It was something like, so happy everybody's excited for Pride. That's great. But instead of giving your money to these big corporations who just slaps a rainbow flag on everything, why don't you give your money to an actual gay person, aka me? And I just thought it was so brilliant.
It's perfect.
It was so wonderful, because that's, it is a celebration, and, it is fantastic, but we're taking all of the genuineness out of it. Now it's everyone's just doing it for PR. Everyone's just doing it for the publicity. Nobody is doing it out of the kindness of their heart, because if you were doing it out of the kind of your heart, you'd be telling those people every single day how much you love them and how much you're there for them.
You don't have to go on and tell nameless, faceless people who you are. Like, I'm very frustrated that the absence of saying anything precludes anybody to assume the absolute worst about you. That's not the way it needs to be. And we used to know each other in person. COVID probably kicked some of that in the tail. But it used to be important to know who the person was. You can, just going back to the Gwen Stefani, Blake Shelton conversation we had yesterday, where Gwen Stefani came out and wouldn't denounce that she wasn't a Republican. I mean, this story is, why won't you say you're not a Republican? And she's like, I have a whole body of work who says who I am. Why do I need to say that? Because that's always the cherry on top, right? We always need to, you could know everything about someone, think someone is the coolest thing since sliced bread. But if you find out that they voted the way you don't want them to vote, they're now negated from being in your social circle. That's so backwards. And it's so not going to help our country heal from what I would say. And I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to say this president and last president, I don't think Donald Trump was out there trying to unify people across party lines. He was trying to win. And I'm grateful that he did, because it was about time, because we were going to hell in a handbasket. Joe Biden says in his inauguration, he wants to unity is the opposite of every single event. Every single policy, every single speech has been divisive. And he knows it. Well, I mean, like the people in the administration know it.
Yeah, does he know it?
I don't know if he's gotten the memo yet. I'll get it later. All right, let's talk to Blaine Wilhour. Speaking of craziness, Illinois State Representative from District 107, Blaine Wilhour, is going to join us when we come back. There have been some sex education bills that have gone through the legislature this past weekend that are crazy. I encourage you to go to the Annie Fry Show Facebook page right now, because there are some things I'm not going to talk about on there that you can check out for yourself. I have grown people texting me saying, Annie, I've never learned so much from somebody's Facebook feed than I have been learning from the Annie Fry Show Facebook feed right now, with the things that they want to educate our children about, and will be, because it has passed. That and the rest of the wrap up of this legislation session with Blaine Wilhour in just a minute. Don't go away.
1,000 miles to follow the match you took.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
With Ameren, Missouri, getting summer ready is as easy as HVAC. Now you can get up to $900 back when you purchase a qualifying HVAC system. See? Easy breezy. Find terms and participating contractors at AmerenMissouriSavings.com/HVAC.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
With summer here and the kids home full-time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is just $89.95. That's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. The Overhead Door brand is celebrating 100 years, a legacy of greatness. Don't be fooled by others with a similar name. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Legacy Box, the effortless way to have your outdated media digitally preserved on a modern format. Think back to when maybe you were married. You have pictures, maybe some videotapes and other things that you haven't seen in years. Wouldn't you like to preserve that? Legacy Box can help. This is an idea, too. You can give the gift of memories this year for an anniversary that you and your spouse will never forget. Do it kind of on the QT. Get some of these videos and pictures and present something amazing. Legacy Box can help you. So it's a very easy process from start to finish. You pack and send. Their team digitizes everything by hand, and then you enjoy. You get back perfectly preserved digital copies on a thumb drive, DVD, or the cloud, ready to watch, share, and enjoy. And Legacy Box is making it very easy for 97.1 listeners, offering 40% off so your family can celebrate meaningful moments at a fraction of the normal price. Go to legacybox.com/Mark and get started today. That's legacybox.com/Mark for 40% off. Legacybox.com/Mark.
All right, gentlemen, is it time for your summer haircut? Are you looking for a place that you can rely on so you can show up, you can make your appointment online, you can show up at your convenience and get that perfect haircut every time? Well, that place is Hair Saloon, and they have locations all over the St. Louis bi-state region waiting for you to take part in a place that believes, yes, that men, in fact, do deserve better. It really shows, obviously, with the haircut, which is the most important part, but they surround you with the better things in life that help you enjoy the process, make you look forward to coming back again, and really feel like you deserve better. A complimentary beverage, a relaxing shampoo, hot towel and mint, complimentary shoe shine as well, and from their classic haircut all the way to their signature stress relief, you can ask them about their whole array, their whole menu of different haircuts that they can provide for you. You are going to be satisfied every single time. 25% discount as well on services all day, every day for veterans, active duty military, and first responders. If you're looking for a haircut, look no further than hairsaloon.com for the location nearest you and make your appointment today. hairsaloon.com.
If it's happening in the world, the country, or the community, then it's happening here. This is where St. Louis comes to talk. And you've made it the #1 talk station in St. Louis. 97.1 FM Talk. the place for ideas.
Venus, if you will, please send a little girl for me to thrill. A girl who wants my kisses and my arms. A girl with all the charms of you.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for spending some time with us this afternoon. We're grateful for that. We've been talking a lot about critical race theory, certainly on this show here recently, and we're going to continue to do that because it's an important issue. Education right now in this country as a whole is really feeling the push, isn't it, with the progressive left, with the pandemic having sent kids home and put them on Zoom, so they're taking their class in front of their parents potentially. It kind of started to expose some things that started to bring parents into that conversation to say, hey, what's going on here? Well, I'm going to shift gears from critical race theory a little bit into what the state of Illinois is doing regarding sex education. I've shared a lot of things on the Annie Fry Show Facebook page that we have not spoken about in detail here on the show, but it is an incredibly important topic that we need to discuss. This purpose of the legislature, what they're doing, how it's being pushed, and how it is affecting our kids. That's why we welcome onto the show Illinois State Representative from District 107 here in Southern Illinois, Blaine Wilhour is back with us. Blaine, welcome back to the show. Great to have you here.
Good to be here, Annie.
So let me, there is a lot to swallow. I was staying up late over the weekend, watching the stuff come in as you guys were plowing through some things and getting to budgets at the last minute. But this sex education bill is something that has gotten a lot of people's attention, a lot of people concerned. I just want to get your perspective on what it is, what the intention is, and how it got passed.
Yeah, well, I think that this truly is an extension of this whole critical theory. The Marxist philosophy that is basically designed to destroy the traditional family and try to replace that with government dependency. And they want to, get with your kids from the time that they're 2 till they're adults. But this particular legislation, I mean, it's hard to even talk about without being inappropriate. Basically, they're requiring public schools to teach sex education using these standards that are developed by radical, non-governmental, non-accountable leftists. It's pretty disgusting. You either got to teach based on these standards, or you can't teach it at all. And I can just go through some of the things that some of the age groups that we're talking about here. By age 5, it says starting at age 5, it says students should be able to define gender identity, gender role stereotypes. I mean, we're talking kindergartners here. And by the age of 8, you start talking about human sexual development, hormones, masturbation, the potential role of hormone blockers on young people who identify as transgender, and, define and explain differences between, I don't even know what some of these are, cisgender, transgender, gender non-binary, gender expansive, and gender identity.
At 8.
Yeah. And you move up till starting at age 11, it says students should be able to define sexual identity and explain a range of identities related to sexual orientation, heterosexual, bisexual, lesbian, gay, queer, two-spirit, I don't even know what that is, asexual, pansexual, define vaginal, oral, and anal sex, describe the steps to using barrier methods correctly, like external and internal condoms, dental dams. I mean, this stuff is outrageous. It's not. Yeah. That's starting at age 11. It's completely disgusting, and we could go on and on and on with some of these examples. You should look at some of the recommended curriculum. Some of the books that they're putting out for this. It's completely inappropriate. It's not age appropriate. And, these, a lot of these things shouldn't necessarily be taught in school. And it gives parents, you do have some level of opt out. But if you opt out, you opt out of everything. So, I think that these standards should be at bare minimum, left to the locals to do.
Speaking with Blaine Wilhour, Illinois State Representative, District 107. I remember I'm looking at these things on the Annie Frey Show Facebook page too, just because you're right, Blaine. It's hard to even say on the radio. We try to keep the show fairly clean. You can't say most of what this is on the radio, and it's in grade school curriculum.
Well, I mean, I think that they would talk about bullying and some of these other things, but what we're doing is we're robbing kids of their innocence. I mean, these things are appropriate to know about and talk about, but not starting in kindergarten, and certainly not using, an agenda that's developed by radical anti-family people. These organizations' main goal is to destroy the nuclear family, and thereby making people dependent on government.
Blaine, is there a difference between, I believe, I'll preface this by saying I believe there's a difference between educating on reproduction and, the human body, the biology, the anatomy that goes along with that, and what you're suggesting here and what I'm inferring when I read these things, because it's not just anatomy, it's not just science. There are like suggestions on elements of pleasure that could be involved by doing things in one way or the other. Is there a difference, in your opinion, about the necessity of educating these things from a scientific perspective and the culture war that seems to be seeping into this issue?
Oh yeah, there definitely is. I think that it's wholly appropriate to, talk about the natural reproductive stuff, but when you start getting into the indoctrination part, there's also stuff in here that, really points kids towards, developing a thought process on things like abortion and that kind of stuff too. So it's wholly inappropriate. There's a abortion promotion stuff in here, LGBT, stuff in here that, people who have strong religious beliefs, including teachers, shouldn't be subjected to a standard of teaching about this. It's okay to talk about it, but teaching right and wrong on these things, it's not appropriate.
Blaine Wilhour, Illinois State Representative, District 107. So now that we kind of know what we're talking about here and how extreme this stuff is, what of the actual legislation? I'm just kind of catching up on this as we're talking, but where is this in the Illinois legislature? Is it likely to pass? Where are things?
Okay, so it passed the Senate a couple weeks ago, and it passed in the House last week with the bare minimum 60 votes. And your local state legislator there, Katie Stewart, voted for it. And obviously, if she would have voted against it, it would have died. So, maybe you should talk to your local legislator about what they're subjecting our kids to. Right now, the only thing that we can do, I guess there's two things that we can do. We can bombard the governor with calls and emails to veto it. And send it back. You can call the governor's office. I'll give you the Chicago number because that's where you're most likely to reach people. 312-814-2121. Call Governor Pritzker and tell him to veto this disgusting piece of legislation. And furthermore, tell your local school boards to stand up and just reject this mandate. These school boards are just going to have to say enough's enough on some of this stuff and say that we aren't doing this. We are going to decide what is best for our students in our local areas.
Blaine, I want to give you the opportunity to highlight anything else that came up during this last weekend here as things have been wrapping up in Springfield, because there was a whole host of things that got voted on, things that didn't get voted on, including that IDPH oversight of non-public schools regarding, I guess, COVID implementations, among other things. That passed in the House, and then what happened to it?
Yeah, so it passed in the House, and it didn't get called up in the Senate, which is a huge victory for the people of Illinois. Nothing is ever dead in Springfield, and we're probably going to be going back up sometime later on this month. But for now, the people spoke. I think there was over 17,000 witness slips. And we, us and you on this show had a big part in that. And, that was a victory. So the two real victories that I seen were the stopping the HB 2789, which was the Illinois Department of Public Health takeover of local schools. And we were able to get the Invest in Kids program, the Opportunity Scholarship program. The governor had said that he wanted to get rid of it. We put enough public pressure on to not get rid of it. There's still some things that we need to do to promote it and make it more robust. But, these opportunity scholarships for low income families and failing schools are still out there. And that's something that, we can kind of hang our hat on in a otherwise very bad session in the General Assembly. And there's also one thing that I want to point out that's still on the radar that has to be taken care of before the end of June here, and that's this energy legislation. And it's this is a big deal here in Southern Illinois and in the Metro East, because obviously the green energy people are kind of driving the ship there, and the governor is all on board with him. And what is really a big deal for us is he has promised to veto any energy plan that does not include phasing out and shutting down the Prairie State Energy Campus in Marissa, Illinois, with 650 union jobs that he's promising to eliminate there. So we've got to really start putting the pressure on them to prioritize working class jobs.
For sure. Blaine Wilhour, thank you so much for the time today and for your fight for conservatism, common sense here in Illinois. We really appreciate having you on here.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. We'll talk to you again soon. Blaine Wilhour is the state representative in District 107, Southern Illinois here, and a good fighter for common sense. These sex education bills are it's a lot to handle, and I would encourage you to go to the Annie Frey Show Facebook page, and you can see a couple of things that I have shared there that include, first, one of them is from Chicago Public Schools, so that the Chicago Public School system is different than the rest of the state of Illinois. They have their own entity there that governs the Chicago public school systems. The rest of the state of Illinois has a different system. But if it's in Chicago, don't think that it's not just on the doorstep to potentially being in your kid's classroom. Not to mention the fact other things that have been shared that have been implemented across the country. It's not something, we can talk about this a little bit when we come back, about the point of educating on these issues. It's not that for me particularly, I'll speak for myself and get Katie and Ryan's viewpoints on this when we come back. It's not that kids shouldn't know about these experiences, about their body, about other people's bodies that aren't like theirs, about other people's lifestyles that aren't like theirs. The question is, whose responsibility is it to educate our children on these issues? And to what extent should you be able to have a set of standards, a set of beliefs that contradict what the state is saying, and be able to retain those and maintain those for your own child while you are raising them? We can take a quick break. We'll be back with more on this discussion when we come back. Don't forget, Tyrus is going to join us at 1 o'clock and Kevin Wheeler at 2:25. But more on this topic in just a minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
You're listening
listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com. If you're looking to put your home transformation into hands of somebody who you can trust, somebody who's going to deliver you an absolute more than satisfaction, an elation in the finish of your project inside your home or outside your home, you need Lakeside Renovation and Design. You can call them to set up a consultation right now, 636-978-5000. That's 636-978-5000, and talk with one of the amazing customer service reps that they have there, one of the amazing people who has been working with Lakeside Renovation and Design for some time. They have over 100 of the very best local St. Louisans, people who care about the little things that come together to make your satisfaction the supreme goal of the whole project. People who show up on time to the job, people who clean up the job site each day, people who make sure that they pay attention to every single detail that you are investing in your home. That's what happens at Lakeside Renovation and Design. Call them at 636-978-5000. Kitchen, basement, bathroom remodels. If you're looking outside for decks, room additions, screen room, front and rear porches, James Hardy siding, infinity window replacement, even custom front entry doors, you can find the solution at Lakeside Renovation and Design. Online at lakesidерenovationanddesign.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for CertaPro Painters, professional painting. My favorite thing about CertaPro, you do not have to do the painting. I was hooked several years ago because I did get a free estimate, just like I'm encouraging you to do at CertaPro.com. They came over. It was a kitchen job, that first job inside a house that I used to own in South City. They did the project so efficiently, so effectively. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro.com to get your free estimate today. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com. CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting. Check them out today, CertaPro.com.
The all-new Hyundai Tucson features digital key technology and remote smart parking assist, plus complimentary maintenance for 3 years or 36,000 miles and 10 years of America's best warranty. It is, without question, our best Tucson ever. Lease the all-new 2022 Tucson for $279 a month for 36 months with $35.99 due at signing. See your local St. Louis Hyundai dealer today. Offer ends July 5th, 2021. Call 224-661-0068 for details.
Hello, Marvin Mitchell here from Compass Retirement Solutions. Did you know that the average 3-year CD rate in the area was less than 1%? That's why we are excited to offer you several accounts that are short-term and pay better than bank rates. For example, we currently have a 3-year account paying 2.4% and a 5-year account paying 3.5% per year guaranteed. What a great place for your lazy money. You know, the money that you don't plan to use for the next 3 to 5 years. Now, terms and conditions do apply. So for more information, call 314-373-1598. Again, call 314-373-1598. This is Marvin Mitchell, and we would like to put your lazy money to work for you. Call 314-373-1598.
Guarantees are backed by the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Rates can change without notice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del will show you how to retire in 2 to 5 years. Your age doesn't matter. Turn off the pundits and turn on the passive income. Tune in to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Tune in to the Del Walmsley Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Weeknights at 7 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Getting ready for the big day? Come to Shane Company for picture-perfect jewelry. Classic styles for the bride and groom, and gifts for the bridal party. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
97.1 FM Talk is now streaming on the Odyssey app. It's your home for streaming The Mark Cox Show, Brian Kilmeade, The Annie Fry Show, and Mark Reardon on your phone. The Odyssey app for streaming 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, life on the farm is kind of laid back. Ain't much an old country boy like me can't hack. It's early to rise, early in the sack. I thank God I'm a country boy. Well, a simple kind of life never did me no harm. Raising me a family and working on the farm. Days are all filled with an easy country charm. Thank God I'm a country boy. Well, I got me.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show.
Got
Thanks for
no
being
fiddle
here.
and
So we've been having a conversation. We just got done speaking with the Illinois State Representative from District 107, Blaine Wilhour. And we're talking about some of those sex education bills that have been pushed through the legislature. You can see details about specifically what the Chicago public school system is doing. A post that I shared on the Annie Fry Show Facebook page from Jeannie Ives with screenshots of the slideshow. And boy, whew, man, I mean, seriously, I'm getting messages from lifelong friends of mine who are like, I did not know these things. They're learning from the CPS slideshow that is going to be showed. I think that one was to 11-year-olds. That's insane. It's crazy to me. The difference there is to me a stark difference between educating on the science and biology of reproduction, biology and anatomy, and then educating on a lifestyle. Because lifestyle involves morality, and we all have different moralities based on different things. I talk about this all the time. And if you have no religion in your life and your morality dictates that you believe one thing is okay and one thing is not morally, that never predicates a scenario where you get to treat somebody differently because of how you feel about their lifestyle. I mean, I know that there are people who have looked at my lifestyle and thought over the course of time that maybe I was a little too goody two-shoes for them, and they didn't like me because of that. They don't get to treat me differently because they don't like me because of my personal choices. And if they do, they're jerks. I mean, you can put an ist on the end of it, but that is what they are. They're bad people. If you have a moral standard that suggests that your morality, if it's based on religion, I'm a Christian specifically, it's where I derive my morality is from my Christian faith, from Jesus and from the Bible. That's personal to me, to my family. If I have a morality that exists in that context, it doesn't preclude me to treat people in a way that is hateful and hurtful to them ever. That also conflicts with my morality as a Christian, but that doesn't mean that the standards bend and change based on social pressure. Does that make sense? I mean, it's a complicated thing to discuss, but I think it's an important thing to discuss, especially when it's creeping into our children's classroom down all the way to kindergarten, folks, 5-year-olds in kindergarten, through high school, obviously. And as is anything, the level of education you get on that, grows over the course of time. I want to get to our caller here in just a second, but before we do that, Katie and Ryan, I want to give you guys an opportunity to kind of react to what Blaine was saying there about what kids are learning in the classroom and how we navigate the importance to educate our kids on topics that are difficult to discuss without dictating from a state mandated PowerPoint culture that is or morality that is potentially conflicting across different people's perspectives and experiences.
Well, I'll probably take a more extreme position on this than maybe anybody in this room or a lot of people listening, that I don't think that sex education really needs to be taught in school at all anymore. Just because it's impossible to divorce the morality of it from the science of it. And if we've tried to do that, and it's never worked. And so my preference is that this would always be something that was taught at home. And there's going to be definitely a counter argument to say, well, what if kids are not being taught that at home? Are they ever going to be taught it? They're absolutely being taught by their peers, which is that better than what we just looked at? I don't know that it's better, but it's certainly not worse. So I would advocate that. I don't even know why we're teaching it in schools.
I have a different opinion about that, because I think that it should be taught in schools. I don't necessarily think it needs to be taught for elementary and possibly even middle, although, girls' bodies are becoming different in middle school. But I went to public school. I think you might have gone to public school, Ryan. In 15 was whenever we had a professional come in and teach us about what's going on with the human body and anatomy. And so I valued that. I don't remember a lot of the takeaways from it, but I did value that course. I think it is important for sex education to be taught, but maybe with a more mature audience that can grasp what's actually happening with your body, and with an absolute professional that has zero agenda. I think that's what we need to.
It's hard to do.
It's really hard to do. But if we are talking about sexual education and we are talking about implementing this to people in middle school and high school, they've got to come in and have a professional with zero agenda attached.
Is it crazy to think that it could be its own class in an elective that would have to be, if you're signing up for an elective on something? I mean, I don't know, because I don't believe that it shouldn't be taught, because there are going to be situations where kids that are at home are not going to have. I don't want to assume that every household is like mine, where I'm like hovering over my kids on these issues and making sure that I'm there to catch everything in this context that might come across their ears, or to be open and talk to them about it. That's not going to be the case in many different households. So I do value the conversation. I just don't trust the government, I guess, to dictate. Go ahead, Katie.
I agree. I think that parents should be notified and sent home a very detailed list of what's going to be discussed, who's going to be discussing it, are able to do their own research, and then sign that waiver if a child is under the age of 18, to say, this is what's happening today in school. The child doesn't have to come to school if they don't want to learn about it today.
Seth on our YouTube channel says, I agree with Ryan 100%. That should be parents' responsibility. I agree with Seth 100% that it should be the parents' responsibility. I am saddened that there are a lot of responsibilities that parents should take that they don't. So I understand the argument that if you just leave it to parents, you're going to leave some kids behind. I want to get to Kay's call here real quick. Kay, thank you so much for listening and calling the Annie Fry Show. It's good to have you here.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to weigh in on this as the mom of a transgender child who transitioned at the age of 7, 11 years ago. So before this big wave of, the ability to talk about it openly, to the point today where there's education on it in the classroom and those sorts of things. Like, we've come a long way since my son transitioned. And I guess part of what I wanted to say is that, like, when these kids are little, really little, like mine was, he would go into his 4 and 5 year classrooms, the 3s and 4s, and then into kindergarten, trying to explain this to, he was in a Christian school at the time as well, trying to explain this experience to his friends. And like, nobody could understand it. Nobody could get it. And so I guess my point with that is that kids are going to get exposed to this, whether they're teaching it or not. And it would be helpful, I think, for the conversation. Like, I believe our gender model, this binary model, is broken. Like, it does not include like what we know about gender today and all of the differences. And there's a number of differences regarding gender. I don't know how many different genders
I really appreciate you calling in and sharing your experience and your story. I want to push back a little bit, not on your child's personal experience or what his experience was in the classroom, but I will say, as the parent of a recently 5-year-old, I keep telling her she wasn't allowed to turn 5. I just keep telling her she's 4. She fights with me. If anybody came into her pre-K classroom and started talking to her about any type of that gender kind of experience, I think it would confuse her. I want to, and the reason why I say that is I feel like where you're coming from and saying that this was an experience that he was having, and he was trying to have that conversation in the context of that classroom. My kids go to a Christian school as well. I don't care if they're talking about any kind of that type of experience. I really wouldn't want my kid to be having to think about those big issues in the classroom. And
but how would you stop that with another student who's clearly bringing it up and telling your child what is going, and which is, I think kids are going to know of so much more than you ever can imagine just by the experiences of their peers, number one, but I don't even know how you would control that.
Okay, so can I ask you for an easy example of the types of things that he would speak about in like a pre-kindergarten situation?
Yes. It would be just as simple as, because back then he had not transitioned. So he appeared to be a girl, but he was telling everybody, I'm a boy. He preferred a different name, and he asked everybody to call him the other name. I gave him a pixie haircut in kindergarten because he was so upset about his long hair, that then everybody kind of gave him a hard time about why would you want to wear your hair like that if you're a girl? And he's like, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. So like, there were all of these things that were going on. And obviously we didn't stay at that school for very long. He was never going to be able to stay in that school and live the life that he needed to live. But it didn't change the fact that all of these students were being exposed to the concept of, just because you're born with a certain body does not make you that gender.
Okay, I got to run, and I want to appreciate you for your phone call and appreciate you for sharing your story here and sticking with us. Thank you so much for reaching out.
You're welcome.
That's a complicated situation. And when you put what her son experienced in that scenario into the context of another situation, which it was in, which she said was a Christian school. I mean, you don't have to be the Christian religion to have varying views on the morality of that experience. And my biggest thing about these types of experiences is that those are conversations, like Ryan was saying, like Seth, I think was the commenter, was saying, like, these are conversations that need to be fostered at the home level. You should be talking to your kids about these. Katie, I'm going to ask for an extra minute here. When you look at, I mean, there's so many cartoons out there right now that are interjecting these things, these types of lifestyles into cartoons that are going to come across your kids' screen. Some of them very nondescript, that they just kind of are present in the cartoon. In other cases, it's really, really up in your face. It's important that you don't squash the whole conversation. The question is where does the conversation actually take place? And you know, for Kay's experience, I have to say, if my child came home and was saying, what she's saying was being discussed, there's a girl in my class who thinks he's a boy, I would probably use that as an opportunity on a very, very surface level experience to talk to my kid about kids who maybe have different identities, but that doesn't change the context with which our morality exists in our house based on the Christian faith that we would believe in, which ultimately has to result in how Evelyn, my 5-year-old, would have to treat this child in her class, which is with love and compassion. You can have both things at the same time. It's a complicated thing, but that's the biggest reason why it needs to be talked about in the home, not by a state mandated curriculum. When we come back, Tyrus, don't go away. Stewart's American Mortgage is home of the bagel loan, and if you have been looking at the real estate market right now, just saw something that said that maybe mortgages were starting to slow down a little bit. I wouldn't bet on it right now. If you are looking to buy a house, you probably feel as though it's about as cutthroat as it can be. Reach out to Stewart's American Mortgage and find out how you can become the most competitive buyer for that new home, that dream home that you've been looking for. When you use the bagel loan, which is only available at Stewart's American Mortgage, and you are taking out a loan for $200,000 or more, you're going to pay no fees, no lender fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no cost at all. These are not rolled into the loan. They don't hide these fees and say that they don't exist. They really just don't exist. So you're going to save thousands potentially of money on all of these fees that pile up at the front end of this transaction. Plus, you're going to get that low interest rate that everybody is shouting about right now. Call Stewart's American Mortgage at 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440, and have the conversation today with my friend Stewie. You'll be so very glad you did. You can Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. I've been warning our clients that IRS employees are back at work since mid-July, and their collection efforts have ramped up. Well, sure enough, it looks like it's happening. So if you have unfiled tax returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Tax resolution plans are based off your current income. So if your current income is less than normal due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is precisely the time for the Lance Drury Law Firm to help you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
COVID cases in the U.S. are plunging. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Our 7-day average is about 15,600 cases per day.
CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says that's a more than 30% drop from the previous 7-day average and down more than 90% from the peak in January. With over half of U.S. adults now fully vaccinated, the plan to donate unused vaccine doses to other countries is moving forward. 80 million doses by the end of this month.
We will continue to donate from our excess supply as that supply is delivered to us.
National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says most doses will be shared through the UN-backed COVAX program, others directly with U.S. allies and partners. When it comes to fighting cyber attacks, the White House says the federal government can't do it alone. The administration urging companies to strengthen their cyber defenses, saying business leaders also have a responsibility to help protect the American public and the economy. A memo to the private sector from the National Security Council's cybersecurity advisor says no company is safe from being targeted with ransomware after 2 recent attacks on a pipeline and meat supplier. Not just any unauthorized computer use rises to the level of federal crime. That's the upshot of a U.S. Supreme Court decision reining in the power of federal prosecutors to go after computer fraud cases.
A divided Supreme Court limited the type of conduct that can be prosecuted under a federal computer fraud law, overturning a former police officer's conviction for misusing a government database. A 6-3 opinion found the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986 was applied too broadly, siding with a police officer who accessed license plate records for a private purpose. The justices concluded the officer could not be convicted of misusing the database since access to that information was available to him as part of his job.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. America is listening to Fox News.
Want the truth on why I wake up looking so darn awesome? I take care of my skin. Not just my face, but more intimate skin. And when you've got incontinence, you sure need to.
Tena Intimates pads lock liquid in and are now 100% breathable to care for your intimate skin, day or night. Tena Intimates are now endorsed by the Skin Health Alliance. Visit tenasample.com for your free sample. Kind to skin, protects like Tena.
Looking for a way to pay for that new home improvement you've been waiting for? Ready to consolidate credit card debt at a lower interest rate? Figure offers multiple loan options that can help you improve your finances. From mortgage refinances to home equity lines and personal loans, Figure can help you find the loan that's right for you. Figure takes all the stress and hassle out of the process. Apply 100% online at Figure.com and see your new rate in a few clicks. Figure out your finances at Figure.com. Figure Lending LLC. Equal Opportunity Lender. NMLS 1717824. Terms and conditions apply.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Mix of clouds and sunshine today. Maybe a spot shower, but really tough to find. Let's warm it up to 80 degrees. Tonight, clear skies 60. Friday, sunny 85. Saturday, sunny 89, 90 for the high. And on Sunday, partly sunny, just a slight chance of a spot afternoon thunderstorm at 88. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis can pay you cash and close in as little as 5 days. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis is your most trusted home buyer. We buy houses in any condition, any price range, and in any location in the St. Louis metro. Call 314-782-5000. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis buys inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses, and even those my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Call Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis today. Vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, get a cash offer in just 7 minutes. Call Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis at 314-782-5000. That's 314-782-5000. 314-782-5000.
Hi, this is Curtis Barks. I am the owner of Complete Auto Body and Repair, here to tell you about our touchless automotive service. If you're experiencing the constant struggles of having the kids home from school or just want more of that family time where you can listen to them teach you about what they do every day, we provide touchless automotive service, return the vehicle to you clean and ready to go in the comfort of your own home. Check us out online at CompleteAB.com for more information. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixed the cars.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these two young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The med spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the med spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with a winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Struggling with CPAP? Now there's Inspire, the only FDA-approved obstructive sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body to treat the root cause of sleep apnea with just the click of a button. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Visit InspireSleep.com to learn more.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you have heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple on the station as the financial expert for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend on 97.1 FM Talk. And in case you miss any of those shows, on his podcasts on Odyssey.com and search Safe Money 97.1. So call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DH Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app to listen to 97.1 FM Talk and find content that moves you. The Odyssey app for 97.1 FM Talk on the go. The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on a Saturday, and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rip my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, Beth. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Daddy teaches you can be anything in this world that you want to be, right? Don't Daddy teach you that?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're black or white or any color.
Doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, yellow, right?
Black.
And how we treat people is based on who they are and not what color they are.
And if they're nice and smart.
See, this is how children think right here. Critical race theory wants to end that. Not with my children. It's not gonna happen. My baby's gonna know that no matter what she wants to be in life, all she has to do is work hard, and she can become that.
Work hard, even though you don't know anyone. You can make friends.
Yeah, you can make friends, no matter what color they are. So we need to stop CRT. Period. Point blank. Children do not see skin color, man. They love everybody. If they're good people, they love them.
That's the video that's been taking the internet, Twitter, of course, by storm, many other places. Seen this father and daughter showing up on Fox News, among other radio stations and other shows as well, talking more about this message. I don't know that the message gets more simple than this, but it also resonates to me because this is what we've heard Tyrus been saying for a long time. He's on with us right now.
You're becoming like my most stable relationship. Enough said.
Tyrus, when you see, have you seen that video? I mean, it's as adorable as it sounds.
Yeah,
it's more adorable to watch.
It's as adorable as it is. It's a little off-putting to me that it's so shocking.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to
ask you about. People are raving about it. It's kind of like that's the norm. What he was doing as a good
father and parent as what I would say 90% of America does. The problem is the 2% of the idiots are the ones who get all the media attention, and those are the headlines that the media falls in. But that's generally why most Americans, black, white, yellow, whatever, that's how they feel, and that's how kids are. Kids don't see that stuff. They just want to play with someone who's fun and shares. I mean, that's the biggest argument I've ever heard from my kids was somebody wasn't sharing with them. You know, I never heard them saying, "Oh man, kindergarten's rough, man. There's all these brothers in it. I don't know what to do." You know, you just don't hear that because kids they're not wired that way. They have to be taught that way.
Hey, Tyrus,
so
we were having the conversation about this topic yesterday, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it too. We were kind of hypothesizing that CRT, critical race theory, being pushed in schools there's been a bigger backlash against it than we all thought was coming, and it's not been quick. It's been kind of a groundswell. But do you see that happening? Do you think there's been kind of an awakening, not to use the word woke, but just kind of people kind of waking up to the fact that this is coming into schools?
No, I think I don't even think it's an awakening. I just think that the common sense Americans, which is most Americans, typically they research stuff before they react, and then when they see it, and then they go, "Wait a minute, this isn't right. This shouldn't be taught to children." I think it's more of that. The issue with critical race theory is that one, it's a theory, and two, it's just not appropriate to be teaching 6-year-olds that. Again, this is a learning material, a lesson plan for fully mentally aware and cognitive and can question things and research things for young adults. I would say if it was me, if I was putting a curriculum together for critical race theory, I would say ages 17 to 21. That's where this says it's a theory. You can have it as a class in college. You can choose it and talk about it and debate it and have the debate of whether it's 1816 or another date or Columbus or do we, further back or what, but that's the point of exchange of ideas and stuff like that. Children aren't ready for that yet. And everything that they comes from the teacher's mouth at that age, they treat as true. So there won't be a thing where like, well, you're born from a white oppressor, so you're inherently bad. They're not going to say, well, I'm going to research that when I get home. In between, Nickelodeon and Disney Plus, I'm going to, get on dad's computer and fact check that, Kids don't do that. So that's why it's inappropriate. It could be 150% right, but it's not appropriate for that age group. And that's my issue with it. So is algebra. I wouldn't, if someone wanted to do critical algebra theory starting in the 2nd grade, I would be like, yeah, no, it's not a good time. Not ready yet.
Not the right time. Fox News contributor Tyrus joining us right now at Planet Tyrus on Twitter. I encourage you to check out his new book, Just Tyrus, as well. You can order that. I want to ask you where the solution lies, because there's a lot of talking heads that have solutions, and they will talk and talk and talk and tell you what you need to do and how you need to vote. But to your initial point regarding this conversation between a father and a daughter, those conversations are happening across the country. In some homes, they're not happening because the parents aren't engaged. They're not, participating in these kinds of conversations. What is your thought on how the education system as a whole, whether it's this type of an issue or any other type of an issue that is a very sensitive one, what type of role should education play in catching that gap between the family unit, which we should be investing in, that doesn't exist for every kid that's out there?
Well, I'm and I need you. I know you've been through a lot last week. Congratulations. I'm kind of in the dark because I was told you're going to be out for a while.
I'm going to be.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
going to be.
38 weeks pregnant right now. So
okay, all right.
Clock's ticking.
Okay, so I had to get that out of the way. All right, now follow me now. Do you know the incident that happened in Boston where the kid threw the water bottle at Kyrie Irving? We all know that.
Yes.
And everyone was pretty upset about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it was outrage, and everyone was so offended and so hurt. And the kid was processed, and he was charged with assault and battery. And Kevin Durant had a great response to it. He said, "It's bigger than you. It's not about you. Not, it's, you're watching something. It's not about you." And it's the same thing with teachers. It's not about you. It's not your personal crusade to push across your thoughts and your beliefs on your children. Your goal is to give them information, to teach them, to make them, encourage them to want to learn, not put your political views and beliefs. We have a problem in this country where everyone thinks that they are more important than what someone else is doing it. If a valedictorian gives a speech and talks about her faith, and she says that she believes her life is to serve Jesus Christ, they say it's too Christianized. No, it's her moment. It's not about you. And education is the same thing. No one should know their teacher's political beliefs. No one should know their teacher's religious beliefs. The teacher's there to get the curriculum, teach the children, learn to trust in them, and educate them, and then be able to connect with family. And the teacher used to be like a therapist, like a parents could go to a teacher and ask advice on how to do things and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And we don't have that now because everyone's the individual star. Everyone is the star of their own movie, even though no one is really an actor. You know what I'm saying? Like everything has become that ninth place philosophy where it's not about winning, it's about me. I have to be recognized. I have to be, I think police are bad, so I'm going to tell students that police are bad because I feel that way. And it has nothing to do with the student. It's just very selfish and narcissistic. I said before that one of the things that came out in the pandemic more than necessarily COVID was a really bad case of narcissism. And we're seeing it now in the schools, even with trying to get teachers to go back to work. So it's just a certain group has become very selfish, and they're the ones who are getting all the mic time, and the good parents are too busy to tweet because they're raising their kids.
Yeah.
Fox Nation host of Nuff Said and Fox News contributor Tyrus on the phone with us. I couldn't agree with more with what you're saying about all the different, if there's somebody's moment and they want to speak on something, that's fine. But also if I'm in the audience, I have the right to disagree. Like that's what America has been, is it's all the ideas, level playing field, may the best win. But it seems to me, Tyrus, like we're getting away from that. Like we're trying to, as we've talked about many times, we're trying to silence voices that we don't agree with, and especially conservative voices.
We're starting to see the misinformation of how great socialism is. And the wonderful thing about socialism, if you think this is wonderful, the individual achievement is not necessary. It's not counted. It doesn't matter. If you are the best radio show and you make all the money in a socialist thing, you're going to spread it out to all the bad ones. So everybody's the same, and there's no effort. There's no pressure. And even if I make a bad choice, don't worry about it. You went to college and you chose to go to Cancun instead of going to calculus. So we'll pay the bill. And if you get sick because you didn't want to go, we'll pay the bill. And hey, if I want to go in the Walgreens and steal cough medicines, I just don't feel like paying for it. Don't worry, we'll cover the bill. And that group is getting all the airtime. Although most of America does not work that way, and will never work that way. I feel pretty confident in that. But we are seeing particularly in a certain younger generation, that I don't want to compete. So we just won't have any competition. And anytime anyone says anything different or challenging, where before you would have a debate, now you just get rid of them.
Tyrus, before I let you go, I want to give you the opportunity. I know you talked a little bit about your book that's coming out right now, Just Tyrus. But, when I'm reading the About the Book section here on the Simon & Schuster website, it's so compelling to hear you speak like this, because what a lot of people, especially in politics right now, mostly on the left, are telling us that if you are born a certain way, your lot in life is pretty much forged. That if you are a certain color, you have an experience. If you're a different color, you're going to have a different experience. If you've had, any of these particular circumstances in your life, it's going to automatically send you down an automatic path, and that needs to be changed. Your story is a very compelling story, and it's very unique, and you are incredibly successful. Probably because of, and in spite of, like most people, your experiences as an individual. I just want to let you talk about your book a little bit and how your story comes together to, where you're a guest on our show every week. I appreciate it.
No, I love being here. And Just Tyrus comes out December 14th, and you can get it on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles. But my story, I feel, is not as unique as it's unique to me, but it's not ununique to a lot of Americans, to a lot of young men and women in this country who come up. And I failed. The biggest message in my book is I have failed a lot, but I never accepted that it was over. I had dreams. I had certain dreams. They were ended. It was harsh realities, and when you have to deal with those things, you cannot always get caught up in blaming the other side. I had my golden ticket. I had a knee injury my senior year in college. My pro career didn't go that well. So I could have spent the rest of my days walking with a limp saying, well, I was going to the NFL, but I blew out my knee. So that's why I'm a bouncer in a club for the rest of my days. I had my golden excuse. We can't have those things. And a lot of us have tough situations. Now, I might have went through some things where race was an issue. I might have went through some things where size was an issue. You went through things as you're being treated as a woman. You went through things as you were being judged because you were white. So of course you were a certain way. We all have to deal. All our paths have obstacles. They have different things on it. The basic thing is that everyone is going to meet a bad human being, some more than others, and they're going to not like you for no reason at all. And the easiest thing for them to tell you is they don't like me because of the color of my skin, or they don't like me because I have a beard, or I don't wear a tie. Like, people are just going to be cruel. And it's not just to one group, just everyone has different experiences. And I try to really look at the other side of things because now I have wisdom when I look back. But the biggest message is that I never accepted no, and I never accepted my circumstance. And it was nothing, there's no formula. I didn't have to climb a mountain or reach something. I just, inside of me, I always said, no, I'm not going to allow this. I want this, and I'm going to get it. And you're going to fail. And failure is the key to success. You have to fail. You have to hit rock bottom. You got to say no. You got to go through those life lessons. I mean, I almost didn't graduate high school. I was almost ineligible for my senior year. Like, I've almost flunked out of college. Like, I got fired from Arby's in like 3 minutes. Like, we've all been there. It's just, it's the journey, but those marks, those scars, they don't have to define you.
Yeah.
They can just be an interesting story on your way up. And here's the deal. I could, peaks and valleys, I'm in entertainment. I could become boring next month and be like, oh, hi, it's Andy Free Show. Sorry, you know what? We're going to have Waters on this week. Sorry, buddy. I mean, this is the nature of the beast. It's, oh, can I talk to Andy? Oh, she's busy right now. Like, that's the nature of the beast in entertainment.
You've never been,
so I know at some point, some people get to retire and have a wonderful career, and the rest of us get replaced. Yeah. But that doesn't define who you are. You lose your job, you lose your wife, husband, whatever. We're all going to get punched in the mouth. You're going to go to a job interview, and someone's going to look at you and just not like your face. That's not the end of it.
So what you
can't have a brittle soul. It's about the book is literally about how we smile back at them when they boo us.
I love it. Tyrus, thanks so much for being here with us. We appreciate it. I don't know if I'll talk to you again. I might not. God, any day now.
That's You're canceling me?
I'm not canceling you. I just hope that when I come back after I have another kiddo here, that you're still there to talk to, because I enjoy our conversations each week. It's always good to see.
I'm not going anywhere unless you guys are cutting me. Is that a Waters thing real? I heard a rumor.
I don't know. He won't return.
You got to be killing me. Okay. Well, that's because I threatened him with an inch of his life.
All right. All right, Tyrus. We'll be watching you on Gutfeld and your Fox News contributions as well. Thank you so much. Great to talk to you again.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. I would never replace him with Jesse Waters is Jesse Waters available?
Yeah, unless he calls.
I've tried.
He
Sorry,
does.
Tyrus.
No, Tyrus is one of the OGs, the regulars that we've had here on the week since we started middays, and I've always appreciated. I know that there are a lot of you who don't agree with everything that he says, but I like that when we have a conversation with him, I don't know what he's gonna say. Like, I have to actually engage in a conversation with him to hear how he thinks on a particular issue. It's not so cut and dry. So go check out his book. It's Just Tyrus, a memoir. It's coming out December 14th. You can posted a link on the live chat here, and you can follow him on Twitter to find out more at Planet Tyrus. He's also on Instagram, and he's here with us each week on Thursday. Stick around. We'll be back with more Andy Fry Show in a minute.
Come on, 'cause it's all right. Whoa, it's all right. And now listen to the beat.
You're listening to The Andy Fry Show.
Yeah.
Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
Edwards Carpet has extended our huge Memorial Day sale through June 6th. This is the last chance at these prices. Get 18 months, 0% financing, and pay no tax. Hurry in and save big.
Come on down to Edwards Carpet Stores.
Meridian Waste is currently looking to hire talented CDL drivers for residential, roll-off, and commercial openings at their local office in Floresdale, Missouri. If you're interested in working for a growing company that offers a competitive salary, generous benefits that include paid vacation, please reach out today via phone at 314-227-7012 or email your resume to hr@meridianwaste.com for immediate consideration. Good driving record is a must. New drivers are eligible for a $2,500 sign-on bonus. Call today to secure your future and be home every night with your family.
If you're looking for a diamond engagement ring, then you gotta come to Shane Company. We're hearing from customers that it's slim pickings out there. Other jewelers just aren't able to offer a lot of options. They're trying to sell you lower quality or lab-grown diamonds, and it might be a month before you even get the ring. All right, so look, at Shane Company, because we pay cash at the source and work with partners we've had for generations, we have more diamonds to choose from than anywhere else. Always natural, always conflict-free. Our selection is amazing. Looking for a pear-shaped diamond? We've got those. Looking for a cushion cut? Got those too. Don't know what a cushion cut is? We can show you. Or maybe you want to go with the classic round. We've got them in stock in every price range. Don't just settle for any diamond. Visit us at the store or shop online where shipping is fast and free.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company. Open weekdays till 8, Saturday and Sunday till 5, and online at shaneco.com.
Hey, this is Wiggins. I'm not somebody who misses appointments when I make them, but I am somebody who forgets to make appointments, especially when it comes to things that are non-essential. You know, if it comes to your health and you have to deal with something right away, well, then you make it a priority. When it comes to your teeth, it's usually just maintenance. If something goes terribly wrong, yeah, it becomes a priority. If you have a toothache, you need something done right away. Of course, Fountains Family Dentistry can do those things for you too, but it's the routine maintenance that we all kind of forget to do. And I've mentioned many times that COVID's thrown things way for a loop. Everybody's out of the practice of doing so. So if you live in the Metro East, like I do, or you work in the Metro East, it's going to be convenient for you because Fountains Family Dentistry is right off of Highway 64 in Fairview Heights, right where you get off for St. Clair Square, same exit right there. And they have appointments for you late into the evening and early in the morning, depending on what your schedule is and what your needs are. They will have something for you. Go to fountainsfamilydentistry.com, and that's where you can find their phone number and talk to them on the phone if you're more comfortable doing that. Or you can make an appointment right there online, fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
You've heard it before, and it's true. The easiest way to freshen up the look in your home or your business is with a new coat of paint. It's Mark Reardon for CertaPro Painters, and with CertaPro, it's even better. You don't have to do the work yourself. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. These are local painting crews in our area. They do business and residential, whether you need interior or exterior work. You can trust CertaPro to deliver top-notch results every time. That's why I've hired them time and time again. Your free estimate is just a couple of clicks away at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro Painters.
Hi, everybody. This is Sean Rimmerman, your host of We're Having a Senior Moment. Do you have a warm heart and a caring soul? Are you really devoted to being able to help others? Give us a call at Comfort Care 314-965-9600. Let us help you turn your dreams into reality as you help our friends, our families, and our clients live their best lives possible. Remember, 314-965-9600.
Tune in to Right at Home with Rich every Saturday from noon to 1 p.m. This Mosby Building Arts Home Show covers topics ranging from design and architecture to remodeling and home maintenance. For answers to all of your home questions, don't miss Right at Home with Rich, brought to you by Mosby Building Arts.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic mornings and afternoons with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
either of you two Harry Potter fans?
Yes.
Sorta.
Oh, that's right. You dressed up for Harry, like as a Harry Potter. I mean, I got you
You got me. Yep.
a onesie.
Yes.
Do you still have that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That made the transition from old house to new house.
Have you worn it since I gave it to you like 3 Halloweens ago?
I don't think so. And I don't think I've washed it either.
Only on the
since that
weekends. Every weekend.
incident.
She gets it.
It's a onesie Harry Potter thing. I've never seen a Harry Potter. I've never read a book. My daughter wanted 2 books from the library desperately. My 8-year-old. Have to think about how old my kids are now. She wanted Harry Potter, the first one. She wanted to give it a try. I think the kids in the class are very into Harry Potter, so she wants to like check it out, see if she likes it for herself, and that's great. Read during the summer, that's fantastic. And the other one was a Babysitter's Club book. Did you ever read those?
Oh, I did read those, but man, I mean, that was a long, long time ago. The name rings a bell, but I couldn't tell you the plot of the story.
My sister had like the whole series of Babysitter's Club books, and she wouldn't let me read them, which is why Babysitter's Club's book, they came out with a new series, Babysitter's Club Little Sisters.
Oh,
It's like they knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got those books, and I would read the Little Sisters books. These that my daughter is reading right now, the Babysitter Club books that are out there right now are comic books.
What?
Like the whole thing is comics. But I mean, it's
So
probably, I didn't look in it, but I bet it's 200 pages. It's just the story is told in a comic book way. Diary of a Wimpy Kid is something my son likes a lot. That's not exactly comics, but there are a lot of illustrations in it. I think Dog Man is a book that my kids like, or my son likes to read a lot. That's comic. Is Captain Underpants comic?
Yes, yes, yeah. It's much more of like if I can remember correctly, it's much more of like a Calvin and Hobbes type of comic.
Yeah, I don't think all of those books are like graphic novels, but it's like you're saying, like there's like lines and there's drawings. It's like a mixture.
I'm looking at the Babysitter's Club right now. They leveled up. It does look like a comic book or a
Amy on YouTube says Babysitter Club books were the best. Holly said, I love Babysitter Club books. Amy said, I was obsessed with them. My mom would get so mad because I'd read them so fast. Yeah, that's like quiet time for mom. Kids.
Yeah.
This is what you need to understand. And Holly said, Dog Man is comics. We don't count that as reading anymore. She says she's sick of the comic books. I feel like it's dumbing down reading. If it's a gateway into getting you into sitting down on a couch and reading a book, I'm okay with it.
Same.
Absolutely.
I have a ton of graphic graphic novels.
Because everything is a graphic novel now.
Stop.
I do.
Well, if it's a 200-page comic book.
Hold on a second. For the non-nerds in the room, a comic book is a book with comics in it. But are you distinguishing between a comic book and a graphic novel, or are all comic books now graphic novels?
Oh, I'm distinguishing. I'm distinguishing because a comic book.
Explain it.
Okay. A comic book is thin. There's not a lot of pages in a comic book. So it graduates. It's the same thing. Right, Katie?
Yes, yeah.
It just graduates to a graphic novel when it's a longer version of a comic book, right?
Yep. It's great. I mean, and there's more color to a graphic novel. It's a little bit more in depth, but they're
more for adults.
Yeah, it's much more adult.
I guess not Babysitter's Club, but
not Babysitter's Club.
Just how we get into the conversation.
Them. I feel like
I have lots of judgment inside of me right now.
I don't like them. I'm just telling you that they exist.
No, you like Power Rangers. We established that in the first hour.
Hey, I'm not going to fight that too hard, but Power Rangers.
Devin on Facebook wants Katie to know that Devin and Katie's husband used to draw their own Captain Underpants comics in 3rd grade. I would like to see those.
They did. And David, to this day, there was, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't tell the story. Never mind.
No, go ahead. He's not listening. I've confirmed. I'm texting with him right now.
It's so stupid. Captain Underpants.
It won't be the stupidest thing we do today on the show.
Yeah.
Captain Underpants, they came out with a revamped movie, or it could have been a TV series of Captain Underpants, and I believe that Netflix bought it. I think it was a movie, and whenever it first appeared,
was he excited?
It scrolled on the front page of Netflix, and
gasped.
David was like, "We've got to watch it. It's Captain Underpants," and I'm like,
Captain Underpants is a little too much for my kids, I think. I mean, there's some things in Captain Underpants, and I don't remember specifically what they are or were, that we pushed off at the time. I think initially when, like, that's the crazy thing about a lot. I mean, as a parent, you have to know so much, and you can never know it all. And something creeps in, and then it's a discussion that you have to have. It's an opportunity to have that discussion that you didn't want to have, but now here you are because you missed something. And that's not terrible. Well, the reason I bring up Harry Potter is because there's a Harry Potter store in New York City now. Harry Potter fans
I heard about that.
Hours in the rain for New York City store opening. What? Would you wait outside in the rain to go into a Harry Potter store?
I'm not waiting outside in the rain for anything. I'm
That's
not
not
waiting
true.
outside.
I can't think of anything that I would wait out in the
don't
rain
think
for.
I don't think. Well, maybe if it was like to meet like Justin Bieber or something.
Yeah,
then
there's
Would
something
you?
out there.
There's
There is
probably
something everybody would wait, in
but
the
not
rain
for this. Not for this. I love Harry Potter, but I would not wait outside in the rain for this. Mm-mm.
My
Also-
wife is a huge Harry Potter fan. That's why it's a weird household. And you've probably dealt with this kind of stuff too, where it's like there are certain things that I'm not okay with letting my kids watch or read. And there's certain things that my wife's not okay with. And so we sort of fight over those things. Harry Potter's one that I'm like, I don't want them reading that yet. And she's like, no, it's fine. She's a literature teacher, so I can't really argue with her.
Well, that wouldn't stop me. I mean, my husband's a history teacher. I argue, and I'm always wrong. It's funny because the thing, I'll say things, and he'll be like, "That's not right." And I'll be like, "Yes, it is," and I'll explain it, and he'll be like, and while he's explaining to me what's really right, I'm googling. And I'm like, "Crap, he's right again."
Darn.
It doesn't stop me from arguing. I don't. Harry Potter to me, like when it first came out, people were like wizards and magic and all this stuff. Like that, it was like counter religion. I look at it as fantasy. So, again, it's always context. It's good to do. I think it's good to engage in these things as a family and have, a family interest in it. I'm not opposed to it all. I just never personally got into, I think, when did the first one come out? Early 2000s?
That sounds about right.
1990. I think it was
Late
1999.
90s?
Yeah, it was like 1990.
The very first book, right?
No, movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
movie.
Mhm.
Oh, then
So
the
the
books
books were
must
out
have
in the
been
90s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's looking it up.
As am I.
Let's see.
How
I think
much
it was
we know?
90. No,
97.
2001. 2001
Was the first movie.
Yep.
Published
Mhm.
97, the first one, I think. Yeah, I think at first, anytime something like that comes out on the scene and then you don't know anything about it, people every cartoon, every Disney movie that comes out, there is, I guarantee you, somewhere on some blog somewhere, an explanation as to why this movie is the devil. And, and a lot of these will make the rounds and kind of seep into it's like what's the news cycle like that week? Because if the news cycle is slow, then you're going to find out why Cruella de Vil is the worst thing, or Cruella, whatever it is, I haven't seen it yet, is the worst thing on, and you should never watch it, although it might be a fantastic movie. I mean, it's out of boredom in many cases. Sometimes not so much. Sometimes you want to know what things come up and how things are addressed, and having that heads up ahead of time. But it's, again, I think opportunities to have these conversations in your home, I think in some cases, depending on how they're presented, certainly better than having them, come home on a permission slip from your classroom, from your teacher.
Yeah, it's amazing how much movies use that kind of stuff as publicity now. I think some of that stuff is like made up by the people making the movies just to make controversy so that people talk about it when it comes out.
I'm telling you what, though, this New York store looks awesome.
You waiting out in the rain for it?
Wow,
now?
it looks really, really cool. But I still don't know if I would wait outside in the rain for that for hours.
Ryan, what would you wait in the rain for?
Nothing interesting. Like if people were giving away pallets of $1 million or something, I'd probably wait.
Not a person or an artist, or
I don't know. I can't think of anybody at this stage of my life that I'm like, wow, that would be amazing to shake that person's. When you work kind of in entertainment and you get to meet these people who are on these pedestals, even if you're not a huge fan of them, you realize that they're just people, and it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of takes away from
a person. It doesn't have to be.
Well, then I say $1 million.
All right. Well, in Joe Biden's America, you might have that chance.
Yeah, all right.
You just have to wait a really long time, only in the rain.
And it's my own tax money coming back to me.
Shockingly, you have to go through this one line where, for some reason, they ask you for your wallet. I don't understand why. It seems a bit overreach. Let's take a quick break. More Annie Fry Show. We come back. We got Kevin Wheeler at 2:25. We're going to talk to him about what is going on with the St. Louis Cardinals. Woo, Martinez. What was going on last night? not strikes, not outs. That's for sure. Are we in trouble? Do we have anything to worry about? And what are the St. Louis Blues going to do in the offseason to fix some of their woes? Is it a remake year? We'll talk with Kevin Wheeler about all of that at 2:25, but more fun conversation here right around the corner. An invitation to you personally, stream us live on Facebook, facebook.com/Annie Fry Show. We're real close to 15,000 likes. So if you haven't liked the Facebook page yet, please go give us a like there. We would really appreciate it. We'll be back in just a minute. Don't
Dream about us together again. What I want us together again.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
We'll be together again.
Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
I know you are there, smiling back at me.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get in your comfort zone this summer with 0% financing for 72 months and utility rebates on qualifying new HVAC systems. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Beck and Lennox Estate Planning and Elder Law. Your phone call to them for a free consultation is easy to place. 636-946-7899. That's 636-946-7899. When you call the folks at Beck and Lennox Estate Planning and Elder Law, you're going to get the experts in St. Louis, the people who know what to do with your situation. Your situation is different. It's unique. It's not the same as what other people are dealing with. And when you come in with your situation, they're going to sit down and pay attention to you and figure out how to solve it. If you're looking to have your estate plan done, if you're looking to navigate some complicated areas, like maybe there's a divorce that has occurred in the process, and you want to make sure that your inheritance that you're providing for your heirs is going to go to the right places and definitely not the wrong places. They can help you go through all of those different situations. They can help you answer the questions, what if I die first? What if my significant other, my spouse dies first? What happens if we have more grandchildren? They have the answers to all of those questions. They can help you get access to the benefits that you deserve and give you that peace of mind. 636-946-7899, BeckElderLaw.com.
What makes for a great vacation? Depends on who you ask. Are you looking to get away or bring everyone together? Do you want to get outside and play or see a play at the plate? Fortunately, however you operate, I'm the destination you've been looking for. The name's Missouri, but you can call me Mo. And I have just one question. What's your MO? Come see me at visitmo.com.
Brought to you by the Missouri Division of Tourism.
Hi, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. Interest rates are still at historic lows. If you have not taken advantage of today's low rates, what are you waiting for? Whether your goal this year is to refinance to a shorter term, cash out to pay off debt, or maybe remodel your home, maybe purchase your first or even your fifth home, our low rates will save you money. I'm here in St. Louis and want to put my local market experience to work for you. Whether purchasing or refinancing, my goal is to help you save money on your home loan. And when you call, don't be surprised when I answer the phone. Call me today, Michael Mohan, 314-336-6050, 314-336-6050, 314-336-6050, or online at communitymortgagestl.com.
Community Mortgage LLC, 224-143, NMLS 250353. Save today on your next project with 11% off everything now at Menards. Dutch Boy Max Bond is an exterior paint and primer with extreme adhesion technology. It provides superior adhesion to chalky, dirty, glossy, or previously painted surfaces. Save today on your next project with 11% off all Dutch Boy Max Bond exterior paint. Good through Saturday, June 5th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Governor Mike Parson. The last thing we need to do is defund any type of police department. What we need is more police officers. If you think you're going to get this under control, the homicide rate, by not having police officers on the street, we are absolutely kidding ourselves.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
Welcome back to the Andy Fry Show. It's watching Outnumbered. I'll look up. Katie, did you watch any of Outnumbered today? Do you know who the...
Gosh, I did.
The liberal was on that show?
Oh, we were
watching
talking...
was that the 5 or Outnumbered?
Oh.
That we were
No,
watching?
that's Outnumbered. That's not
Okay.
out. The 5 is in the evening. And I know who she is, and I pointed out I haven't seen her on Outnumbered before.
So they had this, and I'm looking for her name right now. I'm trying to figure out who it was. She was a happy warrior. I'll put it that way. They were talking about obviously differences between the parties and everything, and she was out there being a strong advocate for social programs and suggesting that when you're talking about social programs from a government structure, that it's important to understand the greater good. That's the phrase that she used there. And Sean Duffy was on there. He was the man in the middle, and she called him out and was like, Sean Duffy, of course, with your Catholic faith, you should definitely understand that one of the tenets of your Catholic faith is, loving your neighbor and doing well for your neighbor and really contributing to that greater good, which always is the way religion ends up coming into this conversation. Jenna Arnold is her name, and I want to make sure I got her name in here instead of just the liberal on the show. The insertion of religion into these kinds of conversations by leftists who have historically pounded the table about separation of church and state. They do like to cherry pick the religion card from time to time, don't they? And they try to insert it when convenient for them, so that that they feel like that's the cherry on top of the argument, to suggest, because religion, Christianity, as defined by the secular society that does like to cherry pick it as an opportunity to try to slam dunk on somebody who claims to be a Christian. The assumption of the secular world, and by secular, I mean people who do not attribute Christianity to themselves or do not practice Christianity. The assumption of Christianity is essentially that if you identify as a Christian, you really do think you're hot stuff, right? You think you're great, and you think you got all the right answers. That's not what Christianity is. Christianity in of itself, the word Christianity has the word Christ in it. And the whole purpose of Christ, the purpose of Christ on earth, as a Christian, speaking from my Christian faith, the purpose of Christ on earth wasn't to come show us how to live right. That was not why Christ came to earth. That is not why we have the word Christ in Christian. It wasn't to come show us how to love thy neighbor and to do good things. He certainly did that, but that wasn't the purpose. The purpose of Christ coming to earth was to die because we suck as people. Basic Christianity. The idea of sin being the pervasive, unavoidable tenet of who you are as a broken human being. If you believe in a heaven and a hell, the idea of Christ's presence on earth is to take your place because you were never, ever, ever, ever going to measure up. That's the point of Christianity. You needed a savior, and you got one. That's the idea behind Christianity. If you subscribe to it, great. If you don't, I would love if you did, and I'll pray for you. But moving on, when you listen to the political argument coming out and being like the number one purpose of Christianity is to be a good person. No, you've completely negated the entire point of Jesus. And if you're negating Jesus and the idea of Christianity, you've got to miss the boat. And you need to get back to where the Bible says, what the Bible says about the whole process. The reason why I tell you where I come from my Christian faith, and why I draw that distinction, is because when Jenna Arnold is on Outnumbered, and they're talking about government programs, and they're talking about how important it is to love thy neighbor, it is absolutely important to love thy neighbor. It is absolutely important to go help one another. But for Jenna Arnold, Sean Duffy's Catholicism is somehow a way that she can spike on him, that he should know as a good Catholic what he's supposed to be. Well, he finally at the end here got a little bit of an opportunity to respond, and he did such a good job. Listen to this.
Yeah, so I want to go back to the Catholic point. Loving my neighbor means that I help my neighbor. Loving my neighbor doesn't mean voting to make all you on this panel pay for my neighbor. It's my responsibility, not the government's responsibility, to help thy neighbor. Catholicism and Christianity is not communism. It's individual responsibility in caring for our communities and our neighbors and our families, not forcing someone else to do it for us.
So accurate and important to discuss and important to highlight. Because when you listen to people who don't, we'll talk to the people right now who are Christians, and you understand the importance of Christ in the equation that you will never live up to acquire your own salvation. You're not enough, and you need Christ, so Christ is there for you. In return from that sacrifice that Christ has made for you, do you do things that are good in return? Of course you do, but it's not the ticket. The ticket isn't yours. You didn't create the ticket. You didn't get to punch the ticket. It was punched for you. It was a gift that was given to you. I liken this to, again, from my personal Christian faith, is like a healthy marriage. You don't do things for your significant other or your spouse because you have to, otherwise they'll leave you. That's not love. That's like kind of a hostage situation. So if you're in that situation, you might want to reconsider some things, or maybe, go get some counseling. When you love somebody, you do good things for them because they've loved you, and you want to love them back. So you fill up their gas tank when they didn't do it themselves, or you cut the grass without having to be asked, or you buy the extra little gift, or go out for dinner at the other one's favorite place. You do these things for each other because you love that person, and you want to show them that you love them. That's why Christians are to do good things. The Democratic left, and very much so, I have as much of a problem with the Republican right, when they take the context, the severity of what Christianity is, when they don't play in the circle of Christianity, they don't understand it, and they decide to pull out these notions that somehow or another, all Christianity is a measuring stick of how good you are compared to how good I am. That is not what it's about. And it's to me, those arguments that go that direction, it's incredibly lazy. It's like because you're going to get off on a tangent then to start talking about religion and not the actual issue of how do we help one another? Is a Democrat and is a Republican obligated to help their neighbor? Is a Christian and a non-Christian obligated to help their neighbor? Yes, 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 and yes. All of them. Yes, all of the above. The motivation behind that help, I go back to the Friends episode that always makes me laugh, where Phoebe is trying to do, what is it, like a unselfish kind act, but she realizes at the end, no matter what kind of kind act she's going to do, she's going to feel good about it. So at the end, it's self-serving, because if she does something nice for someone else, it makes her feel good about herself, then it is therefore selfish. That's silly, and it's Friends, and it's Phoebe. But the charity that we show to one another as humans doesn't have to do anything with politics. It doesn't have to do anything with religion. It's the right thing to do. It's the good thing to do. And when we take our own personal measuring sticks, our own personal morality sticks, and try to beat each other over the head with them, when we don't really even understand or subscribe to the tenets of what we're actually judging somebody else on, everybody loses. And it seems to me in this political landscape, when everybody loses, the politicians win. It's like it's what they want. They're invested in it. And I feel like we fall for it every time. I just wanted to give Sean Duffy's response there the opportunity to get some extra airplay, because when I heard that, it was, did you guys hear that live? Were you listening when that happened?
We were watching it, but I don't think we heard that.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I love that. I love these kinds of conversations, because I think a lot of times when we're talking about religion and politics too, we get the terms mixed up of Christianity, as in relationship with Jesus Christ, personal relationship, versus morality and Judeo-Christian ethic. There's overlap with those, but there are a lot of people who are Christians who have a Judeo-Christian ethic, or who have a relationship with Christ, but they don't have the ethic. They like want the relationship, but they don't have biblical morality. Or there are people who don't have the relationship with Christ, who believe in that morality, but they don't base it on the Bible. So there's a lot of crossover between the two, but they're not exclusive, and it gets kind of hairy to talk about it sometimes.
When it gets brought up in a political conversation too, like all the stuff that Ryan just said is potentially in the weeds for people who don't live in the religious world, but those are all things that you would need to understand before you would engage religion in a political conversation. And people aren't interested in learning that, because when they bring up religion into these issues, they're not interested in your religion. They're interested in using your religion to beat you over the head with it, which means they don't get it. I just wanted to highlight that real quick. We're going to take a quick break. More 2 o'clock hour coming right around the corner here with Kevin Wheeler at 2:25. Someone said, do we have to talk about sports? Not a great day to talk about sports. We'll try to get Kevin Wheeler to give us some positive news. He usually has some to deliver. Stick around. More Annie Fry Show in a minute.
Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere. 97.1 FM Talk.
Hi, this is Lance Drury. If you have payroll tax problems, you have serious legal problems, you need an attorney. Call 314-260-6120 or toll free 888-367-6512 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The all-new Hyundai Tucson features digital key technology and remote smart parking assist, plus complimentary maintenance for 3 years or 36,000 miles and 10 years of America's best warranty. It is, without question, our best Tucson ever. Lease the all-new 2022 Tucson for $279 a month for 36 months with $35.99 due at signing. See your local St. Louis Hyundai dealer today. Offer ends July 5th, 2021. Call 224-661-0068 for details.
Ophthalmology Associates, they are here for all of your vision needs. They're on Manchester Road, just west of 270. They are terrific. Doctors Greg Birdie and Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Brusati, who saw me last year for my annual eye health exam, Dr. Andrew Royer, the doctors. Do your eyes get itchy and scratchy this time of year? They can talk to you about how allergies do affect the eye, but it also could be more than just allergies. They are leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment at Ophthalmology Associates. They're leaders when it comes to LASIK. With modern LASIK procedures, many more people can benefit now. They can talk to you about that. And if you have difficulty reading or driving at night, you have glare from oncoming headlights, those could be early signs of cataracts. They can discuss that with you as well at Ophthalmology Associates. Excellent eye care. The doctors, call them today at 314-966-5000. 314-966-5000, or an easy website to remember. It is simply yourEyeDoc.com.
Del Walmsley here. The first thing you're going to have to learn is until you stop expecting the politicians or anyone else to change your life isn't going to change. The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
You could be on your way to a better lifestyle and experience the life of your dreams. Tune in to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Weeknights at 7, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
So I have to focus on 60 Minutes here. I was amazed at this piece. Check it out.
Well, being a woman just isn't working for me anymore. And they said, okay. So that was that. You got your prescription for testosterone. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's all she said was, well, being a woman is not working for me. They probably are being criticized, right, by the transgender right groups for allowing this story to even be told.
The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from KFTK FM Florissant. Driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group. 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
A red line on taxes on Lisa Brady, Fox News. The White House says President Biden is still pledging not to raise taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year and still wants the wealthy and corporations to pay more as talks on an infrastructure plan continue.
President Biden says he's willing to look at a minimum 15% tax on corporations as a way to pay for new infrastructure. But White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the president has not abandoned raising the corporate tax rate to 28%.
This is not a new idea. This is a component of what he's proposed for a pay for that he's lifting up as a question as to whether they could agree to that.
Psaki says $75 billion in unspent coronavirus relief money that the president has proposed using is not nearly enough to pay for his proposals.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. The White House has disputed Republican claims that some $700 billion in unspent funds could be used. The president is scheduled to meet again tomorrow with the lead Republican negotiator, Senator Shelley Moore Capito. Police in Wilmington, Delaware, just confirming more detail about a standoff that started last night with a domestic dispute suspect who opened fire on arriving officers. 3 officers were injured, leading to a 12-hour standoff with the barricaded suspect. Police say he was later found dead inside with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. 2 officers remain hospitalized. 1 has been released. The Food and Drug Administration has a new warning for people with seafood allergies.
Don't eat cicadas if you're allergic to seafood, as these insects share a family relation to shrimp and lobsters. That news coming in a tweet from the FDA with the message, "Yep, we have to say it." People really do eat those loud cicadas that come up from the ground every couple of years. There are even some restaurants that serve them inside tacos.
Fox's Monica DeLuca. America is listening to Fox News.
Want the truth on why I wake up looking so darn awesome? I take care of my skin. Not just my face, but more intimate skin. And when you've got incontinence, you sure need to.
Tenna Intimates pads lock liquid in and are now 100% breathable to care for your intimate skin, day or night. Tenna Intimates are now endorsed by the Skin Health Alliance. Visit tennasample.com for your free sample. Kind to skin, protects like Tenna.
Looking for a way to pay for that new home improvement you've been waiting for? Ready to consolidate credit card debt at a lower interest rate? Figure offers multiple loan options that can help you improve your finances. From mortgage refinances to home equity lines and personal loans, Figure can help you find the loan that's right for you. Figure takes all the stress and hassle out of the process. Apply 100% online at figure.com and see your new rate in a few clicks. Figure out your finances at figure.com. Figure Lending LLC, Equal Opportunity Lender, NMLS 1717824. Terms and conditions apply.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Mix of clouds and sunshine today. Maybe a spot shower, but really tough to find. Let's warm it up to 80 degrees. Tonight, clear skies, 60. Friday, sunny, 85. Saturday, sunny, 89, 90 for the high. And on Sunday, partly sunny, just a slight chance of a spot afternoon thunderstorm and 88. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Presented by Indeed. If you're hiring this summer, you need Indeed. With Indeed Instant Match, just post a sponsored job, and you'll immediately get a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed fit your job description. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
This past year has been difficult for so many Americans. The uncertainty of the economy lingers under this new administration, especially with all the spending and job cuts. We know that people are interested more than ever in securing their nest egg for their retirement. I'm Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group, and for 35 years, we've been helping retirees and pre-retirees understand their options when they leave a job or retire. We'll teach you how to secure your nest egg and provide an income that will last through your retirement and still leave a legacy for your heirs. Call me now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. We'll design your own personalized, structured income plan so you know exactly how much income you can count on and also how long your money will last. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of my second edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. This book covers everything I teach in my live educational events. Call me now at 314-993-9494 or online at retirementkey.com.
I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the specific flooring that Michael's Flooring Outlet offers. If you want to check out the whole array, you can go online right now to igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com and see everything that they have available for you, what they can order for you, what they have in stock right now. They have that stuff specially designated on the website, which I truly appreciate. But my house, of course, 3 kids, 1 on the way, plus a pup. We have an active house, and we need flooring that's going to stand the test of what we are going to put it to. I want to talk to you about the Smart Strand Mohawk Forever Clean with All Pet. It is the most durable, easiest to clean carpet on the planet. Proven in more than 7 million homes for over 10 years. The perfect carpet for families with kids and pets. If you are like mine and you know that a spill can be a moment of frustration, but the kids and the pets that you love, of course, are more important than the spill on the carpet. You need to make sure you have the carpet that's going to make those situations a little less stressful. Michael's Flooring Outlet has that solution for you. Go touch it, feel it at St. Charles County location, the West County location. You can also go to Darden Prairie. You can find all that information and more on their website at igotfloored.com.
Mark Cox here. Guys, let Victory Men's Health help you regain your vitality by optimizing your hormones, vitamins, and sexual health. Victory Men's Health has the most cutting-edge technologies to treat ED. They have wave therapy. Listen, this is the biggest advancement for men with ED since the launch of Viagra. That's pretty incredible. They do the treatments in their office. Victory Men's Health offers wave therapy in both their Illinois and Missouri location. Check them out online today at victorymenshealth.com.
Playoff basketball is here, and before you bet on any of the postseason games, you need to check out BetQL. BetQL analyzes every game to help you make the smartest possible bets. Sometimes the spread is off by a few points, or the total is way too high or low. BetQL finds those opportunities so you can take advantage and cash in. Ready to win more consistently? Visit BetQL.com and use promo code PLAYOFFS for 20% off. That's 20% off with promo code PLAYOFFS at BetQL.com.
You can ask your smart speaker to play 97.1 FM Talk and stay connected to everything happening in the world, the country, and the community. It's all through the new Odyssey app, where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long. Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Happy Thursday. I got a couple stories here. I think they kind of they're more complex than I think what the author intended. And I was going to throw these stories out to Katie and Ryan. We'll have a discussion about it. The first one is it's a Yahoo story. This is not a Yahoo segment, but this is a Yahoo story. A student was barred from graduation for wearing the wrong shoes. So a teacher gave him the shoes off of his own feet. So that sounds like a lovely gesture from this other teacher who was there, who noticed that the kid was wearing the wrong shoes. And so he made it possible for him to cross the stage. So I'm just going to read a little bit from this Yahoo article here. When Devarius Peters arrived at his high school graduation ceremony on May 19th, he was immediately blocked from entering the convention center where it was being held. Peters, 18, was wearing the mandatory purple cap and gown, but a school representative standing at the front door told him that the shoe selection was wrong. Quote, "She said my shoes violated the dress code and I couldn't attend the ceremony unless I changed them." According to the school's graduation dress code, male students were to wear dark dress shoes with an emphasis that no athletic shoes were to be worn. Peters showed up that day in black leather sneakers with white soles, and why they weren't traditional dress shoes, quote, "I thought I could wear them because they were black," end quote. He said, adding that he abided by the rest of the guidelines, which stipulated that students must wear white dress shirt and tie, as well as dark dress pants. So basically, this student is graduating. He's going to his college graduation. There is a dress code that is set, and he doesn't abide by the dress code. So as the story continues on, this kid is like frantically looking around like, what am I going to do? My parents are going to kill me. Because you know how you separate, the kid goes into the graduation area, they're 18, they can handle that stuff. And there's probably still some parents who are around, let's be honest. And the parents are in the ceremony waiting for this graduation to occur. And this teacher, John Butler is his name. He's 38 years old. He's a paraeducator at the school and mentors many of the students, including Peters, was attending the ceremony as a parent rather than as a staff member because his daughter was graduating too. So this teacher, Butler, sees Peter and says, here, take my shoes. Put my shoes on. They fit the dress code. And so he walks across the stage. I think they had a size difference here. It says the student wore a size 9. The teacher wore a size 11. So he was like kind of shuffling, flip-flopping across the stage in these shoes. So super kind gesture by this teacher, right? Commendable, generous. He's sitting in his daughter's graduation ceremony in his socks because he gave these shoes up for the student so he could cross the graduation stage and have his moment. So here's where I wonder if this story should just be a happy story, and the way it's written, it is what it is. Moving on. It says the audience, especially Peter's family, was perplexed by the footwear. They didn't know what was going on. So they see that their son is like up there shuffling across the stage, not in shoes that he owns. They notice the teacher sitting over there with no shoes on his feet. Immediately after the ceremony, Peters found Butler to return his loafers and thank him. Peters was very grateful. He said, though, I wasn't surprised. Mr. Butler is that type of person. At school, if you're having a bad day, he'll be the one to take you out of class, walk you around school, and talk to you. So Butler said, the teacher said, something that small shouldn't rob a kid from experiencing this major moment. It's something that needs to be thoroughly discussed. So now we get into the conversation. Happy ending to the kid, gets to participate in his graduation. He walks across the stage. He earned his diploma. He gets presented his diploma. Now what happens next? This is where I'm kind of curious about, is a Yahoo article necessary to be written on this story to try to change the future here? This is from the mother. If it wasn't for Mr. Butler's kind and thoughtful act, my child would have been sitting outside and I wouldn't have known. I pray he will continue to work in the public school system because we need more teachers like him. Our young Black men need good role models and mentors like Butler. Butler replied, I was just doing my part. I didn't think much of it. Here's the question. Her son genuinely believed that his footwear fit the dress code. He said, but how about if I couldn't afford to buy him shoes? Yeah. This is not just about him. This is about the people that come after him. So here you have a situation where the dress code was specifically set. It's not something that was not discussed or not in print ahead of time. Kids knew what they were to wear and what they were not to wear. The entire time I'm reading the story until I get to about the third to the last paragraph, I'm wondering, does this kid have dress shoes? Did he wear the nicest shoes that he had, the cleanest shoes that he had? Or, and I can understand this because my son could be told 10 times to wear a certain thing and still show up in flip-flops or something like that. Did he just not do what he was supposed to do? And if the kid, because the mom implies here, what if I couldn't afford to buy him shoes? This is about all of those people. My question is it? Should it be? Should there be some sort of sea change about dress codes after this incident where kids have a set of parameters that they should follow, and whether they willfully ignore those and try to show up to graduation because I want to wear my tennis shoes, they're mostly Black, they should be fine. Should the school be able to say, no, we have a standard for what we expect from graduation. We want kids to dress this particular way. I'm certain that if there was a situation ahead of time where there was a discussion like we don't have these shoes and we can't afford to get these shoes, that accommodations would be made, but none of that happened. The kid just thought he had the right shoes on and he didn't. He got called out for not following dress code. And now we have we need to help change the entire system because what if? What do you guys think?
Well, when you talk about somebody's shoes, it seems like one of those rules. How many rules are like this? There's so many rules that it's like, okay, here's the rule, but how deeply is it enforced? Because this seems like one where you want to tell all the kids, look, here's the dress code for your shoes. We want to have a dress code. But then if they show up and it's a little off, like, you just kind of let it go. If it's sandals, maybe that's a little bit different. But my question for like the last half of that article, which is trying to enact sea change for the whole system has to change now because of dress codes. Like, don't you have to wear a cap and gown? Like, isn't that also part of a dress code? And don't you have to buy those things? Like, that seems like a bigger issue as far as a dress code than the shoes would be.
I feel like, man, I would not want to be the enforcer. The person that has to, the person that the kid comes up to and is like, okay, like, here's a checklist. You didn't, or you did pass, and now you can or can't walk in graduation. That'd be so difficult. However, I graduated in 2016. Fortunately, we didn't have a dress code whenever I was going to graduate. I was wearing, I think I wore my dress from my senior high school graduation. I just re-wore it again on my college graduation.
Yeah.
But
you graduated college in 2016.
Yes, I graduated college in 2016. But I think it's, if your college does have something that came out before the graduation and it was,
this is high school.
It's high school graduate. So if the high school came out and said, this is what your child needs to wear in order to walk today, the parent saw it, or maybe the 18-year-old saw it, and the 18-year-old was like, well, I think I can get away with this. That is also on you. There is personal responsibility to say, I would like to walk at graduation. My parents are looking forward to this. Maybe I need to follow this to a T in order for my parents to be able to take my picture as I get my diploma.
What if the information was sent out and the parents and the kids didn't see it? Isn't it still their responsibility to know? I mean, I think, I can't believe that they were going to like not let this kid walk.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, like, that in and of itself is where I'm like, that's the thing I think that the school needs to be looking at, is understanding momentary circumstance. Is he like a repeat offender of shoe wear or something like that? That you're like, well, we're
finally going to draw the line.
We're going to, really teach him a lesson on graduation night. That seems a little bit excessive to me, like, full stop. But the idea that there is a rule or a law that exists, not law in this sense, but a law, which we can go back to the thing that Cynthia Nixon, Miranda from Sex and the City, said, that if people need basic necessities and they're robbing CVS for, are we really going to prosecute these people? Well, I mean, what can we rob and what can't we rob? I would like to know. I would like to know what I can go in and just take, what would be okay and what would not be okay. It's, to me, there's a very systemic move right now towards trying to identify, what is the idea, what human rights and what we should just automatically have access to versus how do we provide it? The only implementation of any of these types of things is to have an overall being who provides those necessities to make sure that everything is fair. That's socialism. That's not going to function in this country. I look at these situations where the responsibility is removed from the people who are supposed to abide by a set of rules that are put out there for everybody, to suggest that here's the rules. It wasn't like these are the rules for these kids and these are the rules for those kids. I hesitate to think that because somebody didn't follow the rule, and you could make a case where, in the event that they couldn't afford shoes, we should change this for everybody. Could you have just followed the rule? I don't know. It seems to me like this is more of that pound your fist on the table. Everything's got to change because of this particular circumstance.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, just with shoes, like, you can go to like a Goodwill and get shoes pretty cheap. I don't think that you don't have to go get the most expensive shoes. And like I was saying with the cap and gown, like, you got to buy that too.
Well, there's no place in the article even where they say that he doesn't have the shoes. Like, that's my
true.
whole question.
Yeah.
Like, when I was reading this, is like, did he just think, well, these shoes are more comfortable and they're black, they'll probably be okay, and he's got 6 pairs of nice dress shoes at home? Like, and the mom says, like, what if I couldn't afford it? So she's saying that she could afford it. Seems a little crazy. Let's get to caller Mike here real quick. Mike, thanks for calling the Annie Fry Show.
Hi, I was just calling about the topic you're talking about, and I kind of feel like an overall good education is preparing these kids to abide and assimilate in the societal rules, because as we prepare them for college, we prepare them to go into the workforce, there are going to be company policies. There's going to be college rules, and they're going to have to learn that, they're going to have to start paying attention and following these rules. So if we change everything all the time because it's not convenient, the whole policy because one person has an issue, I think it just kind of basically tears down the system. And we're not doing really our kids a service, by preparing them to work in the real world, per se.
I appreciate the call, Mike. Thanks for reaching out. Vicky says on Facebook, what happens when he gets to a job and there's a dress code? If you're graduating high school and you go and you work at a fast food restaurant, and they say you have to wear all black shoes. Do you have to wear all black shoes? Or because I have all black shoes, oh, but the soles are white, so this is what I'm going to do. I mean, I worked plenty of super low income jobs to get myself multiple jobs at one time to get myself through college. And I never felt like it was negotiable. I just thought I needed to do what was being asked of me. Rick and Becca on Facebook says, I teach in an elementary school, and years ago during the music programs, the music teacher said that all boys had to wear khaki pants. Even though I could afford to buy pants for my son, I had a little trouble with that requirement because there were families who couldn't afford it, and it wasn't something their kids would normally wear. Many kids just wouldn't come to their music program because they didn't have the proper clothing. I think it's a perfectly good point. And I can see how having to invest in something new like that creates a burden in scenarios that maybe causes hardship for people. I think those are individual conversations that can be had. It's just, to me, like, this is another story, the shoe story, where I feel like there's some information that is not being provided that I would like to have the answers to before I would be like, yeah, you should change the entire dress code for this graduation. Did you guys see the turkey leg video? The Six Flags turkey leg video?
Was that in St. Louis?
I don't think it was in St. Louis, but it was at Six Flags. And there is a whole host of people that are like, they knocked over a turkey leg stand. They're stealing the turkey legs. And then they're going after the security guards aggressively for trying to stop this from happening, like attacking security guards. And the woman videoing the whole thing's like, you're going to lock her up for going after a turkey leg. It's just a turkey leg. I'm like, no, you're assaulting the security guard. It doesn't matter if it's a turkey leg or if it's a whole turkey or if you're trying to steal, Mr. Freeze. I don't know what you're trying to do here. But you can't assault security guards. That's the bottom line. Basic standards.
Get rid of the turkey legs. Just get rid of the turkey.
They're gone. Nobody can have them anymore.
Man, I mean, it's something to see. And I'm watching this and I'm going, it's not okay to steal turkey legs. It's not okay to steal anything ever. Stop stealing. I don't understand it. When we come back, Kevin Wheeler is going to join us. We'll talk a little sports and we'll wrap up the show before we hand it over to Mark Reardon. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Cardinals host the Reds the weekend of June 4th, 5th, and 6th. On those dates, 10,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home their own mystery player jersey, courtesy of Old Dominion Freight Line. This Victory Blue replica jersey is the same style worn by the Cardinals during Saturday road games. Who will you get? DeYoung, Flaherty, or Michaelis? Be there June 4th, 5th, or 6th to find out. For tickets or more info, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
Get ready for interleague play at Busch Stadium when the Cardinals host the Indians June 8th and 9th. Those dates, 10,000 fans entering with a ticket take home their own Cardinals bucket hat. Be the hit of the summer in this one-of-a-kind item. That's Tuesday, June 8th and Wednesday, June 9th. The Cardinals and the Cleveland Indians.
This is Cardinals Hall of Famer Willie McGee. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Cardinal baseball. Time to fly.
The Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at Zero Res. Welcome to June. That is the official start of summer. Now raise your hand if it means you have a list you have to tackle this summer. The good news is you're not alone, and nobody knows that better than my cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Summer is probably the best time to call Zero Res to get all the nasty dirt, dander, and grime out of your home. This is kind of nasty. Speaking of nasty, did you know that the average home takes in over 40 pounds of dust and dirt a year? So your carpet is the biggest air filter in your home, so it needs some summer loving to keep it fresh and clean. This month's Mark Reardon 97.1 special, 3 rooms of carpet cleaned and sanitized, starting at just $129. This will be the easiest chore on your to-do list this summer because Zero Res does all the work. Don't forget about those air ducts. This month, get $50 off your air duct cleaning. The certified team at Zero Res is going to use their negative air 12-step cleaning process to extract all the crud out of the ducts. Call today. Book an appointment, 474-2020. Make sure you mention my name online, ZeroResSTL.com. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
The latest local forecast and severe weather coverage you can count on from the name in St. Louis weather.
This is 97.1's Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
On 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Air Comfort Service.
Like, you see these stories of people politically saying, things like, okay, yeah, you can just, do whatever you want because the crime isn't that big of a deal. That's a pretty slippery slope to be on. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here later in the show before we turn it over to the Mark Reardon Show, because we got Kevin Wheeler on with us right now.
Hey! Let's talk a little business of baseball here.
This is a simple game. You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball.
There's no crying in baseball!
Cardinals, Blues, and more with sports reporter Kevin Wheeler.
Kevin, I don't know how you feel about it. I know you're watching all of these baseball games that we're taking in. It's so nice to have, something to watch every night almost on television to entertain ourselves. It seems like it's kind of feast or famine with the St. Louis Cardinals at the moment. What's your take?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's not entirely unexpected, though, right? I mean, coming into the year, most projections, most analysts, most of us that cover the team thought, all right, they're probably right around a 90-win team, and that's kind of the pace that they're on. They've got problems now. I mean, you've got some injuries that are issues. Obviously, Jack Flaherty's going to be out for a while. You got too many guys on the pitching staff at the moment that walk too many guys and can't throw strikes in critical spots. So it's a little dicey now, but there are some things that have developed that if they can continue are actually great signs. Like Tyler O'Neill has been unbelievable. Yeah. And, they've been waiting for him to break out for a couple of years. And I don't think the stats that he has right now are going to kind of continue to be accumulated the same way the whole year. But, when dorks like me look at the batted ball data underneath, the batting average, home runs and slugging, all that, he's getting what he deserves. There's no luck involved. This is not bloopers falling in or wind blowing out or whatever. I mean, he's hitting the ball hard. He's actually showing that he's one of the fastest runners in Major League Baseball, stealing bags and making plays in the outfield. So, the development of a guy like that and the fact that Molina's having a really good year offensively in addition to defense, those are signs that I think some good things could be coming if you can just get the pitching staff straightened out.
Well, speaking of the pitching staff, we're talking to Kevin Wheeler right now. KMOX sports reporter joins us each Thursday. We've got some injured folks on the pitching staff. It's June, so it's probably not too close to be or too far away to be talking about the trade deadline here. Are you see any prospects out there that would be a really good fit for the St. Louis Cardinals that might get us over the hump here in the middle of the summer?
I mean, there are a bunch of names that we think are available or could be in the next 2 months, depending on how the team does. The hard part right now is finding the right fit at the right price. So, like I talked about this last night on Sports Open Line, that there are maybe 5 teams that are definitely open for selling players right now, and they don't have very many that you'd want, which is why they're bad teams, which is why they're selling. But there are a few guys on those teams. I mean, John Gray of the Rockies would probably be a solid starting pitcher if you could get him out of Coors Field. But he's very talented, throws hard. The Rockies are open for business. I'm not sure the Rockies want to do the Cardinals any more favors at this point after the Arenado trade. Right. And there are others. I mean, people talk about like the teams that are definitely in sell mode would be like the Orioles, the Tigers, maybe the Rangers. There just aren't, but none of those teams have a ton of pitching available. And if you want, think about just in normal life, right? Like if you want to buy a new house in the middle of a hot market, you're going to pay more, right? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where it is right now, where it's a seller's market. There aren't that many established sellers, and those teams are not incentivized at all to do anything earlier rather than later, unless they're getting a better deal than they probably should. I mean, if you're, let's say, Detroit, and you're listening on the left-handed pitcher Matthew Boyd, who's pretty solid, you'd have to blow them away to get them to do it now, rather than waiting for a bidding war to happen at some point in the next 8 weeks. So the timing of it is weird, but it's not to say you can't do anything. It's just going to be hard to do something that would blow fans away and make them excited, like Max Scherzer. Like, that's not happening in the early part of June.
Kevin, this is kind of a deep dive question based on that topic, but I used to love, I mean, that used to be almost more of a pastime than watching the games themselves, is talking about trades, and even the offseason, the Hot Stove League is fun. And it seems like the more teams they allow into the playoffs, obviously that makes the playoff run more interesting, but it makes the Hot Stove League and the trade talk less interesting, because, like you said, that means there's less teams willing to jump into the fray for trades. Is there any reason why Major League Baseball couldn't or wouldn't or shouldn't move back the trade deadline deeper into the seasons to allow more of that to happen?
No, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. In fact, we've seen that happen in the NHL here in the not too distant past. And I think that would be, I mean, I don't think it's an absolute must, but I think it's a good idea. What we used to have was the month of August, where you could make waiver trades. You could, if somebody had a big contract, they would pass through waivers and you could trade them. That's how Houston got Justin Verlander a few years ago when they were making their World Series push. And that's gone now. So, I would agree. I would like to see the deadline at least 2 weeks further back. I'd like to see it at least mid-August, maybe even late August. And I'm not sure why there would be opposition to that. I mean, again, having more definition as to who's actually in and who's actually out is kind of a big deal.
Talk to us about some of these young players who have stepped up here. Dylan Carlson, I can think of Tommy Edman, among others, who have really filled some voids for the St. Louis Cardinals. We've had some very impressive defense. You expect that to be able to last the rest of the season?
Yeah, I do. I mean, in fact, I don't think that we've seen the best of Dylan Carlson yet, and he's been pretty good. Yeah. And I think he's got another level, and he's gone through a couple of periods of different types of offense, right? Early in the year, he had a few home runs and he wasn't hitting for very much batting average. Then he got moved into the 2 spot, and his focus was seemingly more about getting on base. And his on base percentage was really good, but the power kind of went away for a while. And now the power's back. He's hit 3 home runs in the last 4 games. I mean, he's a legitimate Rookie of the Year candidate. He is a legitimate candidate to have a decent batting average at the end of the year, well above league average, and also hit 20, 25 home runs. And his being what the team hoped he would be has been critical. And the same for Edman, right? I mean, they were counting on Tommy Edman coming in this year. There was no maybe, there was no if, and, or but. I mean, when they let Colton Long go, they were counting on Tommy Edman, and he has done a great job. In fact, he's done a good enough job defensively for the most part that you don't have a huge gap between what Colton Long brought you and what Edman's bringing you right now. And I think the other guy that's really kind of, I don't want to say come out of nowhere. I mean, if you follow baseball like a weirdo like I do, you've known about Edmundo Sosa for a while, but we hadn't seen him at the big league level. And early in the year, he didn't get a whole lot of opportunity to play. But when Paul DeJong went down, he basically has taken over at short, and he's been really good defensively, and he's getting big hits. I mean, I don't think he's going to hit 350, but he's right around there since he went in the lineup. He's getting on base. He had a big game-winning RBI the other night in LA. I mean, he's been, I don't want to say a savior or anything like that, but when you lose a starting shortstop like Paul DeJong, who's a good defender and has power, you don't always have a good replacement. But Sosa's been fantastic, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but I mean, he's been doing it for a month now, so I'm really starting to enjoy watching him play. He can run a little bit too.
Yeah, making a believer out of a lot of St. Louisans right now. Let's shift to the Blues. Playoffs continue, not with the Blues. Kind of a very uneventful fizzle out of a season that was plagued from the very beginning. Is it like total remake territory for the St. Louis Blues right now, or do they just need to key in on a few specific areas to put a playoff contending team on the ice next season?
And I definitely think this is still trying to keep your window open, and you don't really have any choice. With the contracts that you've committed yourself to, you don't have a lot of room to make big changes. It's definitely not time for a rebuild. You're in a position where with a healthy roster next year, you should be an easy playoff team. I mean, you should be somewhere in the top 4 or 5 teams in the Western Conference if you're even reasonably healthy next year. And, they're at a stage now where, they're committed to these guys that are kind of in their prime age, right? Late 20s, early 30s, and a lot of them have long-term deals. So this wouldn't be a time for dramatic change. This would be a time where maybe you make a couple of changes. Jaden Schwartz, a free agent, for example. Maybe you decide to let him take off into free agency and bring someone else in, or maybe you do think, Schwartz is a key guy, we got to have him back, and you got to pay him. But I wouldn't imagine there's going to be a huge turnover, and I wouldn't think it's going to be an overly busy offseason. I mean, I'm sure Doug Armstrong is going to look for upgrades. You've got the expansion draft coming up, which gets teams talking about who they want to protect and who they might trade so that they can protect all the guys that they want to. So there may be some fun stuff related to that, but I wouldn't think the roster is dramatically different next year.
Hey, Kevin, not necessarily Blues related, but with the playoffs continuing and Blues out of them, of course, I was talking with my dad a little bit about these hits, these headshots that are coming, I guess, for the Canadians mainly. I haven't been paying as close of attention, but it was a topic that we had talked about with you. This seems like it's getting to be a big deal, and that the punishments maybe aren't justifying the crimes, and they're just saying, well, I'm not going to be suspended for very long, so I'm just going to go ahead and make these hits.
Well, the problem, I mean, there's like a multi-layered problem in all of this. One is that the NHL forever has allowed the game to go from one style to another between the regular season and the postseason. In the regular season, they call those things and they hand out suspensions. And in the postseason, they let them go and they don't offer the big enough suspensions. I mean, basically, playoff hockey is completely different than the regular season. It's much more physical. It's much more cheap shot oriented. And the league is always, it seems like their approach is, well, we don't want to harm anybody's playoff chances. Well, you know what? That hit last night in the Montreal game harmed Montreal's chances because that player, Drake Evans, is hurt, right? I mean, he's not coming back anytime soon after a hit like that. And, I think that's one of the biggest problems that the NHL has to get their hands around. You've got to stop having two different styles of play. You can't have a regular season way of officiating games and handing out punishment and then a separate standard for the playoffs. It's got to be the same. Otherwise, you're just asking for chaos. And I'll go back to, I probably mentioned this last time we talked about it. I mean, this is also partly with the NHL doing everything they can to get rid of fighting. I mean, if a player like Scheifele, who delivered that hit last night, knew that a big dude was waiting to fight him after something, he would think twice about taking that long run at somebody. I mean, it's how it was for a long time, and it worked. People didn't take cheap shots against Wayne Gretzky, because if you did, you had guys, when he was a St. Louis Blue, you had guys like Kelly Chase and Tony Twist that were going to do some damage. When he was in Edmonton, it was guys like Marty McSorley and Dave Semenko, these big boys whose only real job was to make sure nobody took shots at the good players. That was their entire role for being there. And by eliminating that, you've opened the door for people that are more than happy to take that risk. And, that hit we saw last night was not only unnecessary, right? I mean, it was a little bit late, but if you're trying to prevent the goal, shouldn't you be trying to stop the puck from going into the net rather than blowing up the player? And, when you look at, a guy like that who, goes shoulder high on another player and leaves his feet as he delivers the hit coming in with speed from about 50 feet away, he gets a major penalty, right? He gets a charging penalty and a 10-minute misconduct. But now the discipline is going to be 5 games or less because it's not going to be an in-person hearing with the league. Anything that's a phone hearing is going to be 5 games or less. And I don't understand it. I don't understand how the league can look at hits that are that dangerous and say, oh, yeah, 2 games, that's all you need to do. And if I were that player, I'd be praying for a 10-game suspension because if he comes back out on that ice in this series, somebody's getting him.
Kevin, that analogy of the enforcer waiting in the wing is applicable to so many things other than hockey. It's not even funny, but I think you're exactly right about that. If you're gonna put yourself in a position to need to get taught a lesson, and the person to teach you the lesson's not going to be there, you're never going to learn your lesson. That's pretty basic.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are tough guys in the league. But the penalties are so severe for somebody instigating a fight that you're hurting your team if you do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of those deals where I think they tried to do something good, but in the end really opened up quality players for cheap shots.
Great stuff. Kevin Wheeler, thank you so much for stopping by. Always good to talk to you.
See you guys. Have a good weekend.
You as well. Follow him on Twitter at Kevin Wheeler 94. One of the best in the GIF game. And yes, I said GIF and not GIF. Fight me on that. Are we all GIFers? Do you say GIF? What do you guys say?
Oh, I was a GIFer before the show, and then you were like, "It's GIF, it's," and I'm like, "No."
So you're GIF in your own personal life. Professionally,
now
GIF.
I am a GIF. Now I am a GIF. But I was a GIF because that's what I thought it was called. I thought that was the real name of it.
It is.
And I say GIF, and I feel shame every time I do it.
It's the kind of power that I lord over the show.
That's
those important things, right?
That's
Call
right.
it GIF. It's not peanut butter.
Don't you dare, Katie. Don't you dare. Annie's listening.
I think it probably wasn't that big of a deal until Tony Colombo and I fought about it. And you know how he is when he thinks he's right.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. He'll be on with us tomorrow. Looking forward to that conversation. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up before we hand it over to the Mark Reardon Show. Stick around. More Annie Fry Show in just a minute.
I'm flat on the floor with my head down low where the sky can't rain on me anymore. Don't knock on my door because I won't come. I'm hiding from the storm.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show.
Baby, tell me why.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality, water heater, and AeroSeal duct seal services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
Home warranty. I know, right? Buying coverage for appliances, your heater and AC, etc., from a company that hopes you never ever have a claim or call. Let me introduce you to a real home warranty company, the kind that actually wants to help you. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. Upkeep visit your home 4 times a year to maintain your appliances and equipment. You will never get a lack of maintenance denial because Upkeep does the maintenance. Also nice, Upkeep assigns you one point person to help you. You won't be passed around like an office hot potato, and you won't get subcontractors. Upkeep does all their work, so there's no blame game. Just experts helping you. Visit upkeepstl.com today and type in 971 for $100 off. Don't be denied. Instead, be relieved. Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. 636-387-7331.
Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep. Keep up your home with Upkeep, and you'll have a happy home.
It's Mark Reardon for CertaPro Painters, and if you have a painting job that's on your to-do list, don't do it yourself. You're going to do something that's a lot more fun than painting, and you're going to go with CertaPro Painters, and they're going to do a great job. They're going to knock it out of the park. This is for house painting, commercial painting. They do it all. They transform homes and businesses by providing expert services with a proven process. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get started today. A free estimate is just a couple of clicks away. CertaPro.com. That's CertaPro.com. Certa with a C. Get with CertaPro today. Tell them that I sent you over. CertaPro Painters.
I lost 46 pounds in 8 weeks with the help of Andro 400, having tons of energy, not feeling tired or feeling at the end of the day that my feet are dragging. I would very strongly recommend it to anybody that feel they need to cut down on their weight or who doesn't have enough energy. Absolutely.
That's fantastic, Joe. And congratulations on losing 46 pounds in 8 weeks with the help of Andro 400. Guys, check out Joe's before and after pictures on andro400.com. Since 2004, men have chosen Andro 400 for one reason: results. Andro 400 can help you safely and effectively lose belly fat, gain energy, and boost your testosterone. We guarantee it. Order today and get free shipping and special discounts available only on andro400.com. andro400.com. That's andro400.com.
If you're looking for a stunning engagement ring, a meaningful gift of fine jewelry, or simply to treat yourself, visit Shane Company. We make shopping fun and easy both in-store and online. Our friendly and knowledgeable jewelry consultants don't work on commission, so there's no pressure to buy. You can drop by the store or book an in-store appointment or book a virtual appointment. Enjoy our no-contact curbside service for order pickups and even have your jewelry cleaned without leaving your car. Did you know you can create your dream engagement ring online and even choose your unique center stone? Search for rings based on your budget or start by taking our style quiz. And if you have questions while browsing, you can chat with our team online. No matter what, we've got your back. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Weekdays from 6 to 7, catch the Dave Glover Show on 97.1. It's the best of each day, boiled down to 1 hour. The DGS Highlight Hour. Every weekday at 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
How many miles must it take to break through? How many hours must we wait through to hear the truth?
Well, my mother-in-law just texted me and said that she's a retired first grade teacher. Regarding the pronunciation of GIF and JIF, she said that as a first grade teacher, she taught G followed by E or I, said the J sound. But she says GIF anyway. Which, to me, like, if you're teaching English, there's always an exception, and maybe GIF is the exception.
Maybe GIF is
Somebody just tweeted us, too. Jill just tweeted that GIF stands for Graphical Interchange Format. So it's a hard G. Graphic. It's not giraffic.
Carlo on Facebook says, my brother's a psychopath. He says, YIF.
Yeah, that's just wrong. Don't do that.
YIF.
Is he the smartest guy in the room or the dumbest guy in the room? It's hard for me to tell.
Time will tell.
The great debate about what to say, GIF or JIF, is I don't think it's something that anyone was ever prepared for.
It's something you don't really say out loud nearly as much as you interact with the concept.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love a good GIF, YIF, JIF. I think it's a lot easier to interact on Twitter with emojis and pictures because then you don't have to say as much. You can kind of just give an emotion or a vibe. So I like to use them a lot, but yeah, it is what it is. GIF.
It's supposed to be fast is my retort to this person on Twitter. It's supposed to be fast like GIF. So that's where that pronunciation comes from. But I get her point that it's a hard G.
Wait, no. Like Jiffy?
Yes.
Like in a jiffy?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fast?
Well, that's why they're so short.
Huh?
That's why the GIF is so short. It goes by in a GIF. It's fast.
No, it's what did you just say? It's a graphical
interchange format, but
you've created that Jiffy connection in your
There's
own
another
mind.
layer. There's another layer to this now.
That's a fact. I think that's why they chose.
That is not a fact. It's an acronym. Brad on Facebook or on YouTube says no, Ryan, no.
Well, Brad's wrong all the time, though.
Brad's actually more right than most of us are.
That's true. Look, I think that there is truth to this. I think that if you talk to people in the industry, whatever that industry is, that I'm not going to define it because I want to be right. That GIF, it was pronounced that way on purpose, GIF, because it's fast. I really do think there's truth to that.
It's not fast. I spend entirely more time finding the right GIF than I do ever just typing something out.
That's a personal problem.
Drew on Facebook says nothing to do with fast. I've had this argument on my show probably for 5 years now, and never once has anyone been like, it's supposed to be in a jiffy. GIF. It's quick. That's brand new information.
We're in Ryan Wiggins' brain.
Well, it must be that
not.
we've not had this conversation then, because I've thought this for years. And
you thinking it, that like, show me something on the internet where they're like, it's pronounced GIF because it's fast.
It's in a jiffy.
If the entire internet is at my disposal, I bet I can find it somewhere.
I'm gonna challenge you to do that, and it can't be somebody quoting Ryan Wiggins on June 3rd on the Andy Fry Show saying this is why it's pronounced GIF.
Oh, I just found it on Twitter. It's from a guy named Totes Adorbs. Oh wait, that's me.
Annie, I also have something to say about Ryan's last name. And I told Ryan this on break. Isn't it hard to say Wiggins is? Like
plural of Wiggins?
Yeah, the plural of Wiggins. I just tried to say Ryan Wiggins' brain.
And it was hard.
And it was tough. I'm like, what? It's such a hard last name.
I don't know that you have to say zzz.
I don't know
have
either.
to add like 2 ES's to it. But ES
whose
is
lunchbox?
It's Ryan Wiggins's.
This is Ryan Wiggins'
It's not easy.
lunchbox.
I'll give you that. It's true. It's true.
Who pronounces GIF wrong? Ryan Wiggins's mouth.
Let's find something possessive so that we can say Wiggins's.
It's tough. It was tough.
I like the comments coming in for various reasons as to why it's pronounced GIF or GIF, but nobody's saying it has anything to do.
I don't even know how to search this.
Christopher
GIF
on Facebook
is
says
fast.
there was nothing fast about images back then.
All that's coming up is GIFs for Fast and Furious 7.
It's because this is you were the first person to introduce something new to the internet. You should publish something about
Put it
this
on
right
Wiki.
now.
Ooh, I'm gonna put it on Wikipedia, and then you know it's true.
You throw it out there and you write something, put it on 971talk.com like it's straight up fact. Put it on KMOX's website, actually.
Yes.
And then when you put it out there, then you'll cause a firestorm of argument from people all across the globe, but we'll get all the traffic. That's how news works these days.
That's true.
Say something ridiculously wrong and put it out there like it's fact.
Mm-hmm.
on a reasonably reliable platform, like I said, KMOX is
right, not ours.
Specifically, the Dave Glover Show, KMOX.
Yeah.
Put it on
there
their
you go.
page.
Yeah.
Put it on Dave's blog.
I might have
Yes.
access still to their Facebook page. Maybe I'll
Or
just
you
do
can
that.
throw it on Mark Reardon's. Yeah, Mark Reardon might be able to handle that firestorm. He could probably win that argument. He doesn't even know what side of the argument he's on it, but I bet he'd win it.
That's true.
We should stir it up so much that he is forced to continue the conversation into his show. There we go,
evil.
Mark. Teed it up for you.
That's evil.
Christopher says, here you go, Ryan, because I feel bad for you. GIFs were about 5% of the memory space of bitmap images, so technically they were fast compared to the previous format image. Now, while that might be factually true, I don't think it has anything to do with anybody saying GIF because they thought it would be done in a jiffy.
Someone just messaged the show page and said, isn't GIF gift without a T? And that's kind of what you say, Annie, right? That's something that you said.
The reason I say GIF is because I've always said GIF. And that was what I had heard. That doesn't make it right. It just makes it more socially acceptable in my mind.
Yeah.
There's no science behind it.
Yeah, look.
There's no explanation about the scientific speed with which a photo loads on the internet to suggest that it would be a GIF.
No, that is the crux of my argument, because I'm not even saying that GIF is the right way. I say GIF too. It makes more sense to say.
You said earlier you say GIF because I said it was GIF.
It's because
and you said it on the show
because of bullying.
I don't want to cause problems. Like right in the middle, we're talking to Jim Carafano. I don't want to be like GIF, and then the whole interview goes off the rails.
He's speaking of people who use GIFs very well.
Yes.
Jim Carafano is a pro at it, and I wonder what he does say about it.
This is Ryan science.
We've got to ask Jim Carafano
I'll
that.
tweet at him right now, and if you want to know what he says, you'll have to follow at Andy Fry Show to find out. Katie, real quick before we go to break and hand it over to the Reardon Show, I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about Sidewalk with Amazon. Amazon, they respect your privacy. They don't want to know too much about you.
Oh, for sure.
But there's this thing out, and I saw this story, and Katie asked me if I had seen about it, and I had actually checked into it personally. What's Amazon up to right now?
So I just got an Echo for my house, which was David and I were already skeptical about it, but we did get
the house
one.
is so big, it has echoes.
And now it has Echo. So whenever we were turning on our Echo for the first time, it asked us about Amazon Sidewalk if we'd like to join. Amazon Sidewalk is a new network that allows the company's low-power devices to connect more easily, becoming a default feature for Echo and Ring users. This is how it's set up. It is a low bandwidth, long distance wireless network that's developed for low power devices with a goal of allowing them to be better communicate over long ranges. So we're talking about you're a mile down the street and your Echo would still be able to know, or your Ring device was still high powered. The issue with this is that you're sharing your network with your neighbors. So your Wi-Fi, all of that jazz, your Ring, your Echo, everything is being shared amongst your peers, the people around you. It says the Sidewalk works in the background. It lets you connect to and even track simple devices up to a mile away, kind of like an extended mesh system. There are two types of Sidewalk devices, Sidewalk Bridge and Sidewalk enabled devices. So you are able to opt out of this device, which is what I have done with my husband, because we don't know exactly how far and what it's capable of doing with your privacy setting and allowing your neighbors who might be using this Sidewalk, Amazon Sidewalk. We don't know what it's actually doing to your privacy.
You only
settings.
ever find out what it was actually doing when they find out what it was actually doing in the lawsuits that are 6 years later. And you're like, oh, I remember Sidewalk.
And they don't have a definite, I've read a couple articles. They don't have a definite answer about the access of privacy that whenever you use this, what your neighbors are going to be able to see and control from your Ring or
and
from your
also
Echo.
Potential illegality of sharing your internet based on terms of service that you've signed with your internet providers. I've read about that as well. On my Ring that we have on our home, I had to go to the menu. I went to account, and then I went to blah, blah, blah. Was it plans? No. It took me a long time to find on my Ring app where to even access the information. Was it Control Center? I'm doing this live on the air right now. Control Center? Amazon Sidewalk. My Ring device, I think, is not equipped with the ability to run Sidewalk, but it says the floodlight cam, spotlight cam mount, and the spotlight cam wired are Sidewalk enabled devices. So I would definitely give that a check and opt out of it now, because it sounds like you will be in it if you don't opt out of it. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you have the option to not join it, which I don't know about.
I asked Katie, I said, did you say no? She said, I said, hell no.
Hell no. I said, Echo, hell no.
I'm not kidding when I say that I have no idea what you've been talking about for the last 2.5 minutes.
I'm smart. No smart stuff in your house?
No, we have nothing. And so even the
Do
language
your
is
devices
confusing.
say GIF or GIF?
I'm looking at a peanut butter ad that would.
I think they say GIF, honestly, for real. All right, Mark Reardon, clean this mess up. Sticking around right now on 97.1 Mark Reardon Show.
So beat the drum with me. I'm not American.
Business is different.